This Week in League. For the first time in Sharks history, a story about gang rape was told where there were tears instead of high fives.
Tony Staggs calls for more leadership at the Broncos after Darius is unable to show him how to get a proper erection.
Jerome Luai makes Penrith history by being the first Panther to boot a rat bag on the field.
Plus, we look ahead to all of the action for round 15 of the 2020 NRL season.
All that more This Week in League. Welcome to episode 364 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
Just let me reposition the lozenge in my mouth. Firstly, welcome to new listeners. I'll do the welcome to new listeners first this week because I'm just noticing there's a lot of uptick on the chatter and people wanting to get into the Facebook group and all that sort of thing. So I just thought, given that we must have an influx of new listeners, welcome to all of you.
Welcome to new listeners, and especially welcome to repeat listeners, because out of everyone that was a new listener last week, some of you cunts were dumb enough to stick around for the second go.
Yes, and of course, welcome to the diehard, welcome to the faithful, and
welcome to the oldies.
A big week for Brisbane Broncos news. So let's get into this one. I swear. I mean, we speak about it in disbelief every time it happens. Every week, new articles come out, and we're just like, "Oh, what a time to be alive!" We'll never see a time, but every week,
you know what the scary thing
keep coming.
The scary thing is, we're in agreement that these days, actual journalism is dead. Mm-hmm. The actual investigative side of journalism is dead. And it's now just a fucking giant clickbait engine.
Yeah, it's probably not dead, but I mean certainly in regards to the publications that cover sport in this country,
because Tony Staggs' dick wasn't hard. That's the current state of journalism.
Yeah. I mean, it's an allegory. I mean, his dick is the dwindling readership, and he's trying forlornly to jam more readership into the gaping cunt that is the media in general. Trying to sweeten the deal by sucking on the toes. And
his toes are the people that go out and purchase print media or subscriptions to the Daily Telegraph.
Yeah.
But it's like you need no more proof of how shit at reading a room these cunt circus media outlets are, in that it's taken them this long to realise the amount of clicks they'll get on the fucking dumpster fire that is the Brisbane Broncos.
And they can all they've got to give us is the facts.
Exactly.
I don't need to see any speculation.
Nope.
Just let me know what they did this week. I want to hear about the fans chucking the jerseys, into the foyer or over the fence at Red Hill. And I want to see that shit.
They say everyone's got a price?
Mm-hmm.
I've long been a staunch objector to reality television. Mm-hmm. But I've realised this year that everyone's got a show. And my show is what's happening in Broncos land this week.
So what you're saying is, someone needs to put a camera crew there.
Fuck yeah.
Could you imagine, though, I don't know if you've ever watched Hard Knocks, but it's a TV show, usually goes for like 5 or 6 episodes on
the
HBO.
Gridiron one?
Yeah.
About the high school or
No,
college
they pick an NFL team, a different one each year.
Yep.
And the first 5 or 6, it's about 5 or 6 episodes usually, and it basically follows the preseason, training camp, and then the preseason games, and then ends pretty much at the end of the preseason before the season starts.
Yeah, okay.
So they turn them around pretty fucking quickly.
Yeah, okay.
This year's probably a different story because I mean, such an unusual, they're not having a preseason and blah blah blah. But could you imagine, they've got cameras, they've got full access.
Yep.
So they're like locker rooms, they're like team meetings, they're like meetings when the head coach is cutting a guy from the main. Like they've got they've got every level of access, all the field stuff, trash, like everything. Can you imagine a production with that level of access following 2020 Broncos
That
season.
would be phenomenal.
You got the Seabold shit. You got Pangai fucking like. Imagine the shit. I mean, you got the reaction shots where there's team meetings and there's a camera on Pangai and he's just looking like like rolling his eyes at. It would just.
He's like Googling.
It would just be the absolute
Nick Politis direct number.
Well, yeah, they got a camera and it's just like you just see him. It's just like scrolling through his contacts. It's just like Uncle Nick.
Uncle Nick.
But
So what's happened this week?
This week, well, the NRL has issued breach notices to the Brisbane Broncos club and 10 players for failing to comply with the game's biosecurity protocols. This being when the 10 of them had a bit of a drink and had a bit of a feed down at the I shouldn't say drink, a feed down at the Everton Park Hotel, which is very mediocre. Have been there in the past. I was actually there. I was catching up with a friend or a couple of groups of friends and the kids just before or just after Christmas. Just before Christmas, I think, last year. And just because it basically spread all over Brisbane, and it turned out to be probably the midpoint. And great playground for the kids. Very, very fucking mediocre, everything else, though.
Yes.
However, the Broncos fined $140,000 in total. The Broncos club is fined $75,000, and each of the full-time players fined 5% of their salary, totaling $65,000, for attending the Everton Park Hotel on August the 1st. There were 3 development players at the venue. They will have a portion of their fines suspended. At the time of the breaches, Broncos players were permitted to dine at restaurants and cafes, but not permitted to sit in pubs and gaming areas. So, the players in question, Jake Turpin, Katoni Staggs. We'll go with just the main guys. David Fafita, Corey Pakes, Keenan Palacio, Sean O'Sullivan, Corey Oates, and a couple of development guys I don't think we need to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
They considered Abdo considered all the information obtained by the integrity unit and said, "We have taken our time to thoroughly investigate this matter so we could gather as much evidence as possible to determine what happened at the venue. It is our view this breach involved a significant failure of the club to properly administer the league's biosecurity protocols." Number one.
Go for it.
So that was that was the number one story of the week. That was kind of bubbling last week, and we were kind of just waiting for the other foot to drop on what was going to happen with that.
Yes,
because there was certainly no suggestion that they were breaking the wider Queensland
legal
COVID rules. Yeah, they were fine in that respect. However, the Project Apollo additional restrictions, which the pubs and stuff like that.
Yep.
That was the one they broke. That's why they copped it. So you look at that group too, and you go, okay, when you hear things in the future about Broncos players forming into cliques or, splits through the playing group, well, I guess we look at the first graders there and we go, okay, Turpin, Fafita, Katoni Staggs, Corey Pakes had to play hooker for a while, Corey Oates. There's a bunch of them that seem to be friendly enough to go down the EP and get on it.
Yeah. It came up in the tweets this week, but on that note, did any mention in any articles about Alfie?
Under what capacity? I think he's just kind of like, he's got the 2 week.
So he wasn't, because he was on the field this week.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah.
I honestly wasn't even paying attention to, because did he not?
I thought he was in breach of their.
I thought he suffered a 2 weeker.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe because I said it came up in the tweets for the games.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm remembering that now because I just want the fucking Broncos to
have another level of.
That's it.
Ascend another level of hell or descend another level of hell.
This one, and I'll call players out for doing dumb shit whenever they do dumb shit.
Yep.
This one I feel is a massive failure of the club itself.
Yep.
To even have this be possible.
Yeah.
So, if the restrictions and the rules and the guidelines, whatever, were a little bit ambiguous, and it seems to be they were, the players knew they could go and eat in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
However, they weren't allowed to be in a pub or a bar.
Yep.
Well, what does that mean these days when most pubs are restaurants or have restaurants? Can you only sit there?
And cafes are you can get beers at license. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
It. And
even like something like the Coffee Club, like the most generic fucking
exactly
cafe ever. Yeah.
And I'm thinking now, I know plenty of pubs where you can go to the restaurant.
Yep.
and buy your meal, but you must walk to the bar to buy any sort of drink, whether you want a soft drink or a fucking...
And that's definitely, and that is from experience, that is the case. In fact, you have to go to the bar to order your food as well at the Everton Park Hotel.
There you go.
Where we were.
You know, so this, I feel, is a failure on the club to not make it crystal fucking clear.
Yep.
You know?
Especially because there is that grey area, because, yeah, sure, like legally speaking, Queensland's pretty well off in terms of the corona thing at the moment. So, we have the ability to do that if we wanted to.
Yes, that's it.
But, yeah.
But it needed to have been made crystal clear to them that under this, if you want to get together for gatherings, that's absolutely fine.
Yep.
However, before you do so, you need to run the proposed plans via this person.
Yep.
Tell them where you want to go, what time you're going to get there, and what you're going to do there.
Yep.
They will then suss out the fucking joint. Can you imagine how simple that is? Oh, hey, a bunch of us want to go and have lunch.
Yep.
Here, they'd go, you know what? Great, go and have lunch. But don't go there because it's too fucking hard to stay within the guidelines of what you have to do at that venue.
Yep.
Too hard.
Yep.
Go to...
here's this cafe that's down the fucking road.
There's fucking... If you want a steak, go to Blackbird's in the city.
Yep.
You know, we as the Brisbane Broncos have a fucking hookup at Cha Cha Cha.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get you a table there and you can go and eat all the steak you want and drink fucking wine or beer or scotch or whatever the fuck you want.
Yep.
And you're not in breach of anything.
Yep.
Just absolute fucking dumb cunts.
Yep. Now, Tony Staggs today, he called on Brisbane's more experienced players to stand up and show the way as the club looks to extend their losing streak to 6 games. The Broncos have shown signs of improvement in the past month, according to this article I'm reading, but they have been glimpses rather than anything substantial. Injuries and off-field distractions have played their part, but tying to the broader issue of a lack of resilience within the playing group is proving a constant problem. Staggs is only 21 years old, but has been one of the side's best recently, with strong efforts in defence, along with his usual tackle bust with ball in hand. He said the younger boys in the squad need someone to guide the way as the losses continue to pile up. His quote is, "There's some boys there in leadership that are not really doing their job, and I think there's a lot of boys in there that are getting away with a bit." He said, "We need leaders to step up and show us young boys what it's about."
Well,
I would agree that yes you do, but at the same time, if you are put together enough to recognise this as a problem, then perhaps you could step up as well. And be the example.
Did he not say that and say, I have some stepping up to do myself, or I'm young,
not from
but I'll try?
Not from what I read.
Okay, I thought.
So I guess the leadership group is. I wonder if he's referring to anyone in. Oh, I would say that he's not referring to Corey Oates.
What I take about that is there's a stark difference. The cliche that you expect out of something like that, is, look, we're all out there on the field together, and it's up to all of us to go out and do our jobs. Mm-hmm. And no one player is responsible for the losses. So this and or we all have to get out there and do it for the bloke next to us.
Yep.
There's a bunch of those.
Yep.
That says there is a fucking rift in the playing group.
Uh-huh. And fingers are pointing, all over, yeah.
And whoever I'm talking about, they know exactly who they are.
This is meant for their ears. And,
so,
this is a very broad and general statement, but the target of this statement is well aware that they're the target of this statement, and I want them to know that this is what I'm saying.
We've spoken about it before. There's been studies done recently, cohesion in sports teams. And shout out to Big T. That was a fucking awesome thing you sent me. But the cohesion in sports teams is such a massive component of success predictors these days. That this is, if I was a Broncos fan, this stuff for me is close to rock bottom.
Yeah,
the coach dramas I can get around, the players wanting out, I can get around. No one plays bigger than my club.
Yep,
stuff like this in my playing group.
Yeah,
that to me is almost, because how do you fix that? This is the other reason. The player contracts and the way that they are guaranteed and unbreakable or untransferable, essentially, compounds poor situations for clubs.
Exactly, because they don't have the ability to easily move players on. And
Well, you imagine if there was freedom to trade players or negotiate with other teams, and they go, okay, well, we got these guys, and they don't fucking like each other.
Yeah.
You know what? In a perfect world, we would keep this guy.
Yeah.
Because that means if you don't want to get rid of somebody for a form issue or a behavioural issue,
Yep.
that means they're probably going to be in demand at another club.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
for example, how many clubs would take like a Corey Oates, knowing what he's capable of? Let's say hypothetically he's not, because he was in the little fucking state group. You know, would you say no to him at Manly?
Probably. However, if Tony Staggs, I'd probably take him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Broncos are just like, we need to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
We need to offload one of these two guys that hate each other.
Yeah. See you, Lachlan Croker.
Yeah.
You'll be a Bronco now. Get on your horse, cunt, and
yeah. So all of that shit's wishful thinking.
Yeah. Now, Pangai Jr.
Oh, please.
Cast your mind back, rewind, if you will, to 2019. Remember Magic Weekend? And we were with our good friend, Mr. Wars, who people listeners to the show are well, have met or are aware of. He's co-hosted the show on a couple of occasions as well. And the Broncos players were sort of milling about at one of the entrances, at field level from the
No, they were watching the game before them.
Yeah, and they're sort of like down at the corner, corner of the field, just in one of those entry tunnel sort of things, and Pangai's there, and Wars, he had headphones on, listening to music and just watching what was going on, just getting into the vibe for the game to come, and this was like hanging over the fucking concourse, like not 10 meters away from the guy. He's just like, Pangai. impregnate my wife for all this, that was the Broncos fan sentiment to the blockbusting Tavita Pangai Jr. May 2019.
I'll tell you what, as irony would have it,
yes,
there were two things that needed to happen for that to come true. Wars, you got the first bit right. You just need a way to get fucking Pingu imported into China. Yes.
Pangai Island into, but it's how COVID started. It was all a misunderstanding. But fast forward to today, or this week, last week, the week before. What an absolutely disruptive and destructive fucking shit cunt he's proving to be. He's sought legal representation in his bid to be reinstated into the playing group, after he was fined $30,000 and stood down by the Broncos in the NRL for a string of biosecurity breaches. It was over a week ago. I think it was before we recorded last week, where reports were coming out like he was getting stood down, but then it's like, the Broncos are going to tear his contract up. His $650,000 a season contract. It's going to get torn up, and that hasn't happened yet. But the NRL, so they've basically stood him down for the rest of the year because he's like. Like, what was that meme? And like, I don't think it really happened, but it was said to have happened. Was it like Gucci Mane in court where the judge said like, did you whatever? And his response was, bitch, I might have. Pangai's been getting questioned by the NRL, and he's taken it one step further.
Like, yup, and I'd do it again.
I'll do it again. I did it 5 times already. And I go, I'm not going to make you any promises that I won't do it again. Like, literally every defendant in any legal scenario in the history of fucking time, when they say, are you sorry? Very, very sorry. Do you regret what you did? Oh boy, do I regret what I did. Are you going to do it again? Oh no, I have learned my lesson. I shall never do this again. Pangai, nope. Did it 5 times already. You didn't catch me the first 5 times. And
5 times. I did this shit 5 times.
It's fucking unbelievable. And so as a result, that's why he's been stood down for the rest of the year. And they're saying now that he's basically such a degenerate, and just the unapologetic manner that he's conducting himself is that the Broncos, they feel they're on great ground when it comes to potentially firing him.
Yep.
I mean, he's given them all. He's loaded up every fucking chamber they've got. They don't, they've got more than they need. But now they're saying as well that he may struggle to get himself registered if he gets fired at another club next year. If he gets flicked from the Broncos. And it's like, obviously he's a talented player. the discipline problems that he's faced on the field, I mean, he's suspended all the time, like certainly the last 2 years.
The stats I read on that was something ridiculous. Like he's played 18 games out of 41 or something.
Yeah, over like the last 2 seasons or something, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely shocking how bad that was.
And I feel like it's mostly disciplinary.
Yeah.
Like, he seems to cop 3 weeks every other week, you know? Like,
yeah.
And obviously the disciplinary issues on field extend to other areas of his life, given the discipline he's shown in this whole, biosecurity COVID bubble thing as well. And also just the fact that he clearly knows and understands what he's doing and isn't and doesn't fucking care. And so you think, talent aside, you would think twice about bringing him, because sure, I get it. He's one of these guys that obviously doesn't gel with the C-Bowl way of doing things.
Yep.
And he's probably one of these, when they talk about rifts in the playing group, he's probably in one of the rifty groups that's on the outside of everything.
Is a rift a thing? I know it's a description of distance between, but is there something that creates a rift? Is there a rift catalyst? Because he's fucking that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's two ways. There's two ways to look at it. These are the activities causing the rift. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is he's so fucking over it. He's just looking to push the eject button, and he's just doing what he can to get sacked the hell out of there.
He's the one that's going up to Siebes and going, "Man, I'm really sorry about what Milf said about you. I didn't want any part of that, but I'm really sorry. Hey," and just walks away.
Yeah.
That's fucking Pingu at the moment.
Yes.
An opportunity comes where there is a club that he needs more than they need him.
Yep.
And he's not far from that scenario at the moment.
Yep.
A savvy club could put all sorts of fucking clauses in.
Yeah.
That's, things like, this and suspensions or media outbursts or disciplinary stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you get away with putting that in a contract, then you'd take it.
Yeah.
But, you look at, and I've used it a bunch of times as an example, but the whole Andrew Fafita situation where he had a great year for Cronulla the year they won the premiership.
Yep.
But he was in a group that had that many old heads around.
Mm-hmm.
So his peers didn't put up with any dumb shit.
Yep.
He has a problem with authority.
Yep.
And he has a problem with seniority and hierarchy. That's just the sort of personality he is. And Pingu strikes me as very similar.
Yep.
He needs somewhere where the culture is that of, no, we don't fuck around here.
Yep.
Now, if you look at him, I think Big Nelson has a little bit of fuck you, I'm 8 foot tall about him.
Well, as the poor Indonesian man found at Christmas time.
Just had a couple of fucking cinder blocks thrown at his face very quickly.
Yeah.
That's the environment that Pingu needs to go to.
Yeah.
That turned fucking hot-headed Munster.
Yeah.
That was very close to being Josh Reynolds 2.0.
Yep.
Into now a fucking calm, non-retaliatory, very well-spoken media darling.
Yep.
Otherwise, history repeats. But as long as he's not playing for the Broncos, I don't give a fuck where he is.
Exactly. And then finally, this week with the Broncos, let me just scroll down a little bit. Yes, finally for the Broncos this week. It's hard to say sometimes. It's really hard to say.
We've almost done fucking half an hour. Just on... Jesus Christ. Are we now the number one fucking Brisbane Broncos podcast on the planet?
I dare say we probably were already.
Yeah.
But now even more so. Because you know why? We're not going to fluff their balls. We tell it how it is. Broncos fans, we're giving you we're not going to sugarcoat this shit and tell you that it's all roses and there's a way out of this. There's no way out of this. You're fucked for life.
And you know what? Untruths
are
bad no matter how they are.
Yeah.
So we're not going to tell you about all the alleged stuff that Seabold's done because that's allegedly an untruth.
Exactly.
But we're also not going to tell you that everything will be okay and patch your little tushies.
Yeah, and that's actually a great segue into the last one I do have. The cyber squad from Seabold. The lawyers working on his behalf expect to know the source of the gossip in the next day and believe it isn't random trolls making the wild accusations. His legal team expect to receive a report from cybersecurity experts over where the rumors originated. And what's the guy's name? Dave Garrett, the lawyer, said it's quite unexpected. It's not just random trolls. The cybercrime experts wouldn't even know who the Brisbane Broncos are. They're just following this stuff online, but it's quite amazing what they can do. They're letting things run at the moment. There's a lot of activity online at the moment, so the guys are watching that. They're watching people, and by this afternoon or early tomorrow, we will have a roadmap as to where we go from here. And he later said that they were closing in on a person of prominence, in quotes, who had, in quotes, blacked out their social media accounts in the wake of the investigation. The minute it came out that there were cyber people involved, someone shut down their account right away. All their social media went pretty much blank. They won't tell me their name, but it went blank, a prominent name. The report will say who generated the messages, who made the allegations, and where they forwarded them on to. I can see some nervous people in the next 24 hours. Dun, dun, dun. Look, people gossip, and I've seen a social media account shut down with a prominent name. Very prominent name. I've also seen another prominent Broncos-related name stop tweeting 6 or 7 days ago about the time the cybersecurity experts were coming in. I don't know if either of those are related.
Or could, yeah, look, who knows? And,
but,
you know,
the timing is suspect, especially when they mention shit like that. But,
like, for one of them, that would be, almost, or how would you describe that? The relationship would have suffered maybe a compound fracture. No.
Yes.
But, yeah, who knows? Look, they might have gone, oh my goodness, yeah, I did get that. And, yeah, I did go, holy shit, boys, look at what I just got. And so they've decided to black it out. Asking you as somewhat of an expert on this, if you've got your social set to private,
yep,
and look, how are they, tracking all of this stuff? Are they actually like fucking hacking people's computers to see what they've done?
Or is
this all just a fucking scare thing, praying that people don't actually understand how little they can find out about this?
That's what I think it is more of. Yeah, I mean, you can certainly find things out about where things come from, especially when it's like messages and stuff like that. But you've got to remember, we've seen 2 or 3 versions of the Seabold stuff come out.
Yes.
And, like, they always are the same sort of thing. Like, I've got a mate who works for blah, blah, which is like a sponsor or a blah, whatever.
Yeah.
I've got a, brackets, person related to me intimately who works for company associated with the Brisbane Broncos intimately. And he told me, and
so you know it's true.
So it's a great source, yeah. So I'm not shitting you. And then we've seen, like, there's been a couple of variations, and it just seems to be each one is a variation on the same one, just escalated to a higher degree of, like, salaciousness. And I was taking my bin down yesterday or the day before, and talking to my neighbour and who's involved in footy, and he told me a whole another version of the rumors as well. And he's not a computer guy, so obviously he wouldn't be getting the DM ones or whatever.
Yeah.
But, so and the person that told him was someone who is very involved in footy. So the thing is, a screenshot being forwarded around is very difficult to get the initial place from.
Yeah.
Because a screenshot doesn't tell you anything about the person that sent it. At most, it tells you about the person who received it and took the screenshot.
Yeah.
Sure, you can get that, and then maybe you can squeeze people and everything. But
can you?
This is the thing. It's
relying on stupidity.
It's a lot more difficult. It's not the fucking movies.
Yeah.
And I would be very surprised to see.
The thing here, look, you remember the old classic story from US politics, where the instruction was given to one candidate to go up and accuse his opponent of fucking a pig. And he said, I don't see what that is. We have no proof. It's never come up before. It's not a thing. It's this. And his campaign manager basically said, no, I get all that. But all we need is for him to get up and deny fucking the pig. And all of a sudden, in half the people's minds, he's a pig fucker.
It reminds me that was like the first ever episode of Black Mirror, wasn't it? Like that, it reminds me of that one.
Oh, yeah, that would also involve pig fucking.
Now, the last story we got to say our piece on this. Sorry.
What I was going to say. Seabold's continuing to make this a thing. If he'd have said nothing about this, right? If he'd have just
he could have just said something about, denouncing, internet trolls, the fucking internet is a cesspool and this sort of blah blah, and just that's it. But he didn't do that. Or
go on and go, you know what? There's 5 different versions of it.
Yeah.
And so if you're stupid enough to believe that any of them are true,
yep,
then fuck, I feel sorry for you.
Yep.
We're going through some tough shit at the moment. But what gets me is there's a bunch of other people in it. I've seen the stories mention other players by name, mentioned other players' partners and wives, and their extended family members.
Yes.
And things that they're doing, including the sale of fucking drugs and, having intercourse with people they're not married to. All of these things, but Seabold's the only one that's, all of a sudden got fucking, the cyber squad on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which sounds like a shitty Saturday morning Australian ABC teen drama that's played after the one about the fucking little bitches that turn into mermaids if you throw a bottle of Evian at them. Fucking cyber squad. Fuck you. But, yeah. Harvard didn't teach you how to fucking read a room. Say nothing.
He's the one keeping it in the... And, I guess... given that we're just, we're spectators of the game and things, we're not coached by Seabold. We can look at the Broncos results in the fields, but we can't really say like, oh yeah, we know decisively that he's a shit coach. Okay. Like, I mean, there's all these sort of indicators that would lead us to believe that he is.
Yeah.
But, not being coached by him personally, I can't say for sure that that's the case and there's not these other issues in there. But this is a very fucking telling example of how he deals with stuff.
Yes.
Like conflict, how he deals with, I guess, dissent or, things not going the way that he thinks they should be going.
Yep.
And so that's more what I take out of it all. It's just think, what? Like he comes in press conferences, all we really get to see him is press conference after losses. Mm-hmm. And he does sound like an excuse-making cunt.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And hello, here we are, and that's Seabold in a nutshell, I think.
Yeah.
And we shall see. We shall see if anyone legitimately, especially the people they're alluding to, if anyone legitimately gets hit with this. But I think it to me it feels like such a long shot, and it's more of a scare campaign or like a, I don't know.
It was just so fucking non-specific, and the lawyers come out and gone, oh, there's people. I'm not saying they're associated with current coaches. So what he's fucking doing, that fucking annoying, grimy cunt lawyer talk for is Anthony doesn't like Wayne Bennett because Wayne Bennett has butt-fucked him here somehow. And he's taken the good job that Anthony had. And Anthony's now upset that he's up here with this shit fight. So... we'd really like it to be Wayne Bennett. So we're going to allude to the fact that it might be, but then we're going to say it's probably not, but it still might be.
Yeah.
So how many ex-coaches have a vendetta against Seabold and they said there's a targeted campaign to get him sacked?
Yeah.
How many ex-coaches?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the Broncos, there's Wayne Bennett.
Yep.
He doesn't want back up here.
Nope.
And all the other ex-coaches, they've been analed by the Broncos as well, so they'd be enjoying this as much as we are. So, yeah, it's...
Yep. But, hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong, and you know what? What it'll do? It'll just cause even more ructions and fun and games and articles for us to talk about next week.
That is correct.
Now, we've got to talk about this Kevin Proctor thing. He's been found guilty after a marathon judiciary hearing last night, lasting 2.5 hours. And the panel of Ben Cray, Sean Garlick, and Bob Lindner decided to rub him out for 4 weeks, which means he will be able to play again this year. He received a 25% discount for good behaviour because he has only ever had one NRL charge in the last 7 seasons. So he'll be free to return in round 19. Apparently, it was a farcical hearing in terms of the fact that it was scheduled for 6 p.m, didn't start till 90 minutes later because there were arguments about what evidence would be admissible for both parties. The chairman, Jeff Ballou, summarised the case presented and asked the judiciary panel members to disregard all public commentary leading into the trial. And I mean, given these guys are not professional, I don't know,
they're
like
not legal, fucking...
like legal minds and adjudicators or whatever you want to call it. You know, they're ex forwards, like they're ex players, ex forwards.
Been crazy, ex backward.
So that alone is just, it's not, I don't feel it's possible for these guys to really divorce themselves from everything like that. It's not their professional thing. He asked them to disregard public comments made by Johnson on social media and Proctor in newspaper interviews in the lead up, in which there were fucking plenty. So they retired to deliberate nearly 2.5 hours later, and 4 weeks. So you got kind of like a weird sort of non-penalty, really, because, you know, biting, as we've seen in the past, it's cost players, you know, 3 times that.
Yeah.
You know, and easily 3 times that.
Can we rank, in the modern day,
yep,
can we rank actions in terms of severity? Is the eye gouge number 1?
You'd have to be up there, especially because, like, you know, some of these most recent eye gouges, like your Hudson Youngs and your, what was another one, like Josh Maguire or something? Yep. Like, they were like fucking, like, they were digging for treasure.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a facial in the old days, a facial gone wrong or something like that. It was like they were fucking going for gold.
Yeah. They were like, I really enjoyed that fucking episode of Game of Thrones. Let's role play.
So eye gouging is probably, especially given, you know, the possibility of permanent fucked up damage from it. I think I would probably agree with you that eye gouging would be worse.
Tripping's done now.
Tripping's
that's
like,
a
you
know,
fine. Just 350.
Yeah, that's like exactly the same as parking your car in a disabled zone.
You just basically just flip a coin as you walk.
So is biting second?
I think so. I mean, the only thing that would be worse than the thing that would be intermediate would be like a proper, like Hopewade on Keefe, like a full on flying lariato, decapitating somebody, properly knocking them, like spark out. That kind of thing, maybe. Or, you know, something like that, like a blatantly like elbowy knee sort of situation. You know, that would probably be worse. But, you know, when's the last time you saw something like that?
You know what's going to be interesting now? Think of all the players and think across the teams.
Yeah,
you've got an incident where, and I get the feeling that Proctor was always going to cop something going in, because what that then would have meant is that he was sent off for the remainder of the game. And there was still, I think, from memory, 27 odd minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah, there's plenty of time left,
in the game. And essentially, that was a major contributing factor to the Titans losing.
Yep. Yeah. So to justify the Titans losing, because they had a man
he had
down,
to get something.
He had to get something, But I mean, look, let's just backtrack to the entire existence of the charge itself.
Go for it.
I don't think it's hard to argue with, you know, based on the vision that Sean Johnson most certainly was tackling him with his arm like around his mouth.
Yes.
Or in his mouth, you know, like really. So at that point, I mean, you know, there's got to be some sort of contact. Even if he didn't do a single thing of like torquing his jaw one little bit.
Yeah.
You're getting teeth on arm.
Yeah.
Or certainly bottom teeth, if the, you know, mouth guard on the top.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of grey area about whether there's any intention on, like, but at the same time, I don't particularly go in for this sinus business and fearing for his life and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You say that sort of shit if you bit the guy and try and find a way out.
Yeah.
So perhaps he did actually chomp. You know what I mean? Like, what I would say, if I were Proctor in that situation when it's clear that Sean Johnson's wrapped the arm around the face and the forearm in his mouth, I would say, I didn't bite shit. The motherfucker was wrestling me to the ground
Yeah.
in a tackle that he initiated with his arm in a position that he decided, squeezing.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking there with a fucking arm in my mouth. I mean, I didn't bite. I mean, it's just a sheer physics and biology involved. I mean,
exactly.
He's pressing his arm against my teeth, and that's what happened, and I didn't do shit.
Yeah.
When you start making excuses, though, like about, I feared for my life, then you're saying, what are you making excuses for if he put his arm in that spot?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't do anything, but, you must have.
That was Mal almost straight after the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Proctor, let's backtrack. Proctor has been traditionally, as given by the discount, he's been a very clean player for the length of his career,
and has played in a position where a momentary lapse in concentration
and fuckery can be afoot.
That's it. And even being a little bit lazy, like just fucking to hang the arm out there because you're buggered and someone's beating you for pace.
And then that's like a careless 1 weeker or whatever. Yep.
That's it. Not even any of those. To play fuckhead's advocate, my question to you is, well, if you can't breathe, turn your head to the left or turn your head to the right.
Yep.
There's... If it is in your mouth and you're having trouble breathing, then do, that or, just rotate your neck a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe then he fears that, okay, if I do that, then that puts the pressure on my neck and I don't want to, turn it into a crush or whatever. He's been to Melbourne, he's seen cunts get paralysed.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean Johnson, to run up, this to me is going to set a very interesting precedent. Because now it's, what is it? How can you get somebody sent off if you tackle them around the mouth?
Claim to be bitten.
And then go up to the referee and show them, I have teeth marks on me.
Yep.
Send them off.
Yep.
What happens then?
And that's where I think all of the weird sort of grey and weird energy in the lead up to the judiciary, where it came from. It came from the fact that Sean Johnson, like the timeline is, Sean Johnson makes a tackle. He is or isn't, bitten in some way,
Somehow ends up with marks on his arm.
He recoils from the tackle. Charlie bit me. And then, so the referee's like, oh, well then he's fucking sent off, goes on. I feel like that Sean Johnson's actions on the field were more of like gamesmanship, trying to, award a penalty, get a penalty for his side, or an even better, a man advantage for his side,
which they fucking desperately needed. Yeah,
and then the aftermath of that action though is that he's violated the kind of
the bro code,
the stays on the field sort of code.
Yep.
He took a look in the mirror and didn't like to be seen as that kind of person.
Yeah.
And so then he starts kind of trying to backpedal on it somewhat.
This is not an apology, but I'm really fucking sorry. And I was 100% wrong.
Yeah. Now, Perinara gave evidence he observed a red mark, but not teeth marks. Which...
So how many cunts need to backpedal? And I got no love for Proctor.
Yeah, neither.
And I got no love for the Titans.
Yeah.
But
or Sean Johnson, or either side, really.
How many cunts need to backpedal before they go, oh, okay, hang on. So Henry, you sent a guy off over a mark, but no teeth.
It's like there's too many moving parts for them to forget it.
You got up screaming, he bit me, he bit me, he bit me, without teeth marks after tackling somebody on the mouth.
Yeah.
Do they need a general member of the fucking public to just sit in on these judiciary hearings? And all you're allowed to do is utter one word, and it's, are you cunts on meth? Because if they come out of that and they start to see after that, well, the referee said there were no teeth marks.
Yeah.
And the person that was allegedly bitten originally says that now looking at it, they don't believe they were bitten,
Yeah.
and you still want to fucking suspend the guy for biting,
Yeah.
this is my time as a citizen to say, are you cunts on meth? You know?
Yeah.
And you know, A.Y.C.O.M. That's the official fucking title.
Yep.
Because again, without a fucking dog in the fight,
Yep.
I am bewildered.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that what we were privy to as observers of the game with all the TV angles that these guys had at their disposal, I could not conclusively say. There's no way you can conclusively say that he bit him. The only thing that makes you say that is because his arm's in his mouth.
Yeah.
Which is a situation that he didn't initiate or decide.
It's not like, you go back to the James Graham one where you can see him
he
turn
Tysonized
his
him,
head
yeah.
to find the ear and do that.
Yeah. And like that was like a fucking cut brain snapping and going for blood like a fucking pit bull.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not so sure. I mean, all I really see are Titans fans going off one way, Sharks fans going off the other way, and that's drawn down party lines. So I would more like to hear from people who would consider themselves impartial observers to the situation.
But I'll tell you what, just as you hit the nail on the head before, as to this Broncos situation, gives a nice little insight into how Seabold runs things.
Yeah. I
reckon that initial reaction gives you a good little insight into the sort of person Sean Johnson is. Yeah. Yeah. He's like Takashi SJ. And I'm putting cases on all you bitches. And thus a new nickname was born.
Takashi from there.
Takashi SJ.
Because I mean, the other way you just call it Snitch Johnson as well. I mean, like, that's easy. Yeah, you can call it Takashi. It's a shame that he wears the 7 and not the 6. I mean, we almost got all the way. Recaps. Okay, so where are we? It was round 14. Thursday night, it all began. The Melbourne Storm. Actually, we were recording the members episode while the game was going on. It was almost a game companion, except I was the only one watching the game, and you were watching 10-second clips of tits and whatever else goes on in the TikTok world.
I was giving data to my Chinese overlords.
Yeah, telling the chairman how much you like tits.
Check out these Xi Jinpings.
Okay, so the Storm 24 defeated the Roosters 6, much to my surprise and yours.
Yes.
At the SCG. The Storms 24 came through tries to Jerome Hughes, a double to Justin Olam and Felice Kafusi. Pappenhausen, 3 of 4 conversions and a penalty goal. The Roosters 6 came through a try to Christian TWiL and SST with the solitary conversion.
Can I just interrupt here?
Sure.
There's a news article has just dropped.
Dun, dun,
that
dun.
says Darren Lockyer looms as key Pangai backer as Broncos rescind piss week breach notice.
They rescind?
Yes.
They're going to fight the breach notice that they were given by the NRL?
No, they rescind. So Pangai was stood down for breaching the COVID protocols. It now appears there is an appetite for his redemption after the Broncos' bungled attempt to sack him.
Did they attempted to sack him? Or are they saying
Carl
that this...
Morris came out and said, we're going to tear up the $650,000 contract.
Yeah.
And then they served this piss week breach notice, which they had to take back and rescind because it had errors all through it, and they realised it wasn't going to stack up.
Whose words were
they got
piss week? Who was the person that said piss week?
Some shithead Fox Sport journalist, I think.
So when they talk about piss week, it's like it's in quotes from like. Huh.
So what basically what they're saying is HR drew it up rather than a lawyer,
Yep.
and then Pangai's lawyers had a look at it. They basically went, your fucking breach notice, we are wiping our anus on it and giving it back to you. And he's now waiting for another breach notice to be issued, which is, probably okay because he's got a couple of more things to add to it, given what's happened.
And it's just going. I mean, this is really just it's going to delay things a day, right?
Or
hours.
And at board level, Lockyer is fighting to keep him.
Okay.
Whereas everyone else is fighting to fuck him off.
Okay. Interesting. So what does that actually? So what does that mean? I mean, surely they just redraft the document and hand it to him tomorrow. Darren Lockyer can't do anything by himself other than plead a case.
Who fucking knows? But sorry, I just opened up to get my stats for this game and that.
Well, there you go. So Storm 24 to the Roosters 6.
I tell you, the Storm are playing that, as we've spoken about a couple of times, that much more free flowing, play in front of you style of football. But they're doing it right. They're earning the right to play that, and they're doing that by playing Storm ball.
Yep.
Up until the point that they see cracks.
Yep.
For the Roosters, there were a couple of things on their end, like the first try that Hughes scored.
Yep.
That was fucking soft, and that Roosters team has backed itself on its defence from day dot. Jake Friend, I think that the grace period that Cooper Cronk gave him is well and truly gone. If you cast your mind back to before Cronk came to the Roosters...
Yeah, he was on the outer and...
He was on the decline.
Yeah.
Was on the fucking decline.
Yep.
Cronk came in and changed the depth of his passes, changed how he was getting service, changed what Friend was doing, and all of a sudden he became a fucking world beater again, and he's talking about rep honours, etc. To be the dummy half in a team that has just won 2 premierships and is going for a three-peat and was odds-on favourite at the beginning of the year, to be throwing the shit service passes he is that there is something very fucking wrong there. But all around, Melbourne just looked fucking clinical. Like big.
And I mean, like let's be realistic. The Roosters got a fucking terrible injury toll at the moment with key players. But the Storm, if you tell me that the Storm missing Cameron Smith and Munster would flow like that, fuck,
exactly.
I couldn't believe it until I saw it happen.
And it's because everyone did their jobs. Mm-hmm. Like Big Nelson is one of the busiest big men that I reckon I've seen in the last 5 years.
Yep.
Like he loves getting in there and bashing cunts as well, but he is generally rushing back to where he needs to be, or he's in a hurry to fill gaps in the defensive line, or he's coming up quick with everyone else. He's just a busy big man, and I really like it. So.
Any tweets from the game?
Lee said, after watching the Storm play their structured game plan since forever, it's pretty refreshing to see the boys run free this year. Hughes, the Wombat, and Pap steering the team around the park will take the Storm forward for the next few years, and all without Munster or Smith. Injury-plagued Roosters team not to be forgotten, but all in all a pretty good win, I reckon. P.S. How good is A.Y.C.O.M? P.P.S. Fuck the Broncos. Oh, he's getting close to being my new favourite Storm fan. Bethany said, the Chooks exposed like the pretenders they are. This season is truly the best timeline. Hope we can do this to them again in the finals to cap off the true three-peat. Teddy deserves better than this mob. Oh, fuck. Was there a confirmation on Kiri? Was it a spleen?
I know the answer to this, but I can't remember. Yeah.
Nigel said, come on, you blokes. Such negativity towards my beloved Chooks. Hashtag the people's team. Hashtag battlers of the comp. Yes, they are. Graham said, injuries becoming a concern for the cheating cunt three-peat. Thankfully, the transfer period is over, or they would have bought Cooper out of retirement on $50,000 for the season. And Joshy, echoed the point as well. Fuck me, another forward pass from Jake. That's 3 this game and the last 2 games. They're fucking poor. Like they're those ones that they're not even line balls.
Yep.
It's a
And
two-way
to get pinged
street.
for a forward pass from dummy half in 2020,
Yeah,
when there isn't a guy there specifically looking at things like that,
exactly.
it's tough.
And this is the thing. It takes 2 to tango in that situation. So, yes, the runner has mistimed the play.
Yep.
But I don't know about you, but I was always fucking, had drilled that, you know what? If you let go of that fucking ball, he's cocked up the run.
Yep.
That's fine.
You've still got the decision to be made whether you actually release. Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what you do? You go, oh, fuck. And if there's no one else to fucking take it,
run it yourself.
Then you go and you make 4 pissy little meters and you get smashed.
Yep.
And then you get up and say to the cunt, be better.
Yep. That's it.
Not fucking hard. Next game.
Panthers 18 defeat the Warriors 12 at Central Coast. The Panthers tries to Naden, Coruscant and Edwards. Cleary 2 of 3 conversions and a penalty goal. The Warriors tries to RTS and Herbert. And Herbert 2 of 2 conversions. Probably a tougher night out than we would have anticipated.
Yes. I want to address the supremacist in the room. The shit that was said by people in the crowd.
Oh, yes,
Naden.
yes. Did we actually get anything on what was actually said?
Don't care.
Yeah, I feel like it was sort of reported by the player immediately.
Yep.
Dealt with, kind of immediately by the ground people. So it was actually well done all around, except for the cunts who said the shit what they said.
That's it. And I'm not unhappy with that. Now again, going from this is my personal opinion.
Yep.
And there are other people that have gone through life with very different experiences to me, who may have a different opinion. And fuck, man, your journey is completely valid as well. I'm happy they didn't come out and say what was said, because I don't need that sort of fucking negativity or venom being put out there.
Yep.
I'm happy with the fact that it happened.
Yep.
It was seen.
And
Naden spoke up about it.
Yep.
And the response from the NRL's been great. The response from Penrith's been great. The response from the players have been great. All in all, everything's handled beautifully. And there is no fucking room for any of that stuff.
Exactly.
At all. So.
And also, if you're gonna say shit like that, you dumb fucking cunts. I mean, in 2020, there was a group of 10 people or something like that. I mean, you're a group of 10 out of 2,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not like some fucking anonymous face in 20, 30, 40, 80,000 people, You're literally the only people there that said it. You're like, I mean, so not only are you racist fucks, you're fucking stupid as well.
Look, man, I'd assumed a certain level of intelligence for most of the human race.
Well, this is why the Central Coast doesn't deserve a football team.
Although, yeah, true. I'm hearing some shit recently.
Yes, fuck the Central Coast. And fuck the North Sydney Bears.
Love you, Larsie. Who was at this fucking game too, you fucking legend. Beware players' mums. But I've heard some stories recently, about guys who got busted cheating on their wives.
Yeah.
Because they downloaded 1 million fucking dating apps to their phone. Yeah. While they're on a family sharing plan. And so Tinder pops up on the kid's iPad. People are not fucking smart, hey.
No.
Yeah. But you're right. The Warriors had a fucking great night out and keep impressing. I look at that team and they're one of the positive stories about 2020. Fuck, what year is it?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have to do anything either. I mean, it's just their continued presence was almost, like a positive story in and of itself.
That's it. But still getting in and really taking it to Penrith. Their speed and defence was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Penrith did the usual shit that they've been into this year in building pressure and playing, but the Warriors stood up to it. The Warriors fucking took it. And it was just that Cleary pass to Naden that was that fucking sexy all the non-racists in the crowd immediately became pregnant.
Well, the racists, the racists, I mean, became sterile, I suppose. I mean, hence their anger.
That's how good Cleary is. He's like throwing magical fucking Care Bear rainbow passes that sterilize haters. A couple of worrying things for Penrith for mine in that halfway through there were some definite gaps and holes in their defence that teams with maybe more speed or deft kickers could and I hope don't take advantage of in the future. Mm-hmm. The guys are great at scramble, but there are some teams, like for example, if Tedesco had been playing around and sniffing around, and there are a couple of those breaks that were made with offloads, and Tedesco could have had a hat trick.
Yep.
So and that's the difference between playing top tier teams and ones that are really just a fucking pish posh of different players from different clubs on loan.
Yep.
Appy's try was fucking phenomenal. By the season, Origin bolter. Fucking if you don't pick him, what the fuck are you on? But for Penrith to be almost perfect with a 92% completion half in the wet for that first half is absolutely fucking outstanding. The second half, they didn't really continue it on, but again, wet weather. I can't be too disappointed in that performance. The Warriors are up for it as well. Yuri of Cleary marches on.
The feel-good match of the round, the St. George Illawarra Dragons.
You don't want to hear any fucking tweets from me?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Because they're all fucking great.
I'm sure I can almost fucking guess every single one of them, but go ahead.
Skeet Skeet, hashtag Yuri of Cleary. Skeet Skeet, hashtag Yuri of Cleary.
So is that from someone that's so anonymous they don't want to be known for that? What a retarded fucking tweet.
That's all the tweets.
Oh, okay.
James said, PTSD from years of supporting the Panthers had my ass puckering for the entire second half. Thankfully, we managed to hold it together just long enough to take the 2 points. Hashtag Yuri of Cleary. Rishi said, saving poor performances for lesser teams and still winning is a sign you've joined the ranks of the elite. It's a nice view from the top. Hashtag Yuri of Cleary. James said, Tohu Harris, 142 metres, 58 tackles. That was a fucking monster performance from Tohu Harris, who I really like as a forward. Shunter said, well, of all the games in our club record-breaking winning streak, that certainly was one. At King Levius said, fuck those rat bags and the goddamn horse they rode in on. Kissed on the dick every opportunity they had. How dare they do that to everyone's second favourite team? Well, you know what? You know why? Because people that have second teams deserve the fucking worst things in life.
Correct.
That's why. So you being everyone's second team is actually a detriment to your club. You need to stamp that shit out.
Who'd want that for themselves, though, too?
Yeah.
Honestly. Who would want that for themselves?
Oh, look, there are women out there that are happy being a side chick.
Yeah, I guess.
And Mick the Perm said, like with many sports, weather is a great equaliser for games, but 2 points is 2 points. That's it.
Okay, where are we? Yeah, sorry, the feel-good match of the round. The St. George Illawarra Dragons 14 defeat the Parramatta Eels 12. The points double to Ravalawa, Lomax a conversion and a couple of penalty goals. The Eels side was tries to Gutherson and Kane Evans and 2 of 2 conversions to Mitchell Moses. Isn't it funny they couldn't get it done for Mary at any fucking point in the last... How many years have been had him for? 7?
Yeah.
Long ass time.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it done for Mary at any point. But now he's gone. They're like, oh, they did it for Mary. And, and they did it very well. It was one of those games where it was quite inspirational seeing the minnow, get up, against all odds. And even it's like when the levels of minnows overcoming their personal battles and demons. I mean, like, Ravalawa's absolute fucking liability 9 games out of 10. Dumb shit, poor options, mistakes.
Yeah.
Like the fans demanding that he be dropped.
And doing dumb shit and then getting up and just looking around like completely unsure of if what he did was just an accident or dumb.
Yeah, but this guy, like, that escape from the in goal, like the pass, and like he's just doing all this shit, like that.
It's a genius.
There's just such a fine line between stupidity and masterful acts of skillful genius.
Yes.
And he somehow managed to create them all as the masterful acts of skillful genius for this game.
That's it. The more interesting thing for me here was I was looking at my notes during the game compared to the one the write up after it.
Yep.
And throughout this whole game, the thing I kept noticing was just that Parramatta were in charge of territory.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Mm-hmm.
The Dragons' set starts were fucking dog shit.
Yep.
You know, they've got guys at the back that should be fucking getting them started, but there were no meters to be had, and it was slippery as fuck out there. I'm not saying this is due to the players, but the Dragons struggled with it.
Yep.
They were playing with way too much fucking depth back in their near their end goal. And the Eels on the other end just seem to be starting their sets off, making really easy meters tackle 1 and 2 and setting themselves up. But that's probably more a testament to the Dragons' mindset and how they went into this to really stick into this one. And it was just a couple of those key moments, you know, in the rain, close game.
Yep.
It was a couple of, well, fuck, go for that run there or you know, make that desperate tackle. But, the Dragons' right side attack just kept firing, and that's what won them the game.
Move straight on through to the tweets.
Let me get back to those. Our mate Aaron Marr said King Gutho sets a new record with 369 running metres. In other news, the NRL are now counting running up to refs and whinging like a fuckwit in running metres. Dan said, enjoyable game, some really nice footy from both teams, especially in the wet. It is a worry, though, that if the Dragons can play like that, then maybe Mary was never the real problem. Bronco, he's not a Broncos fan, funnily enough, said, tonight I will be inserting a bounty in honour of the superior Fijian of the game, Ravalawa. Mitch said, I don't get it. Does this mean the St. Merge Dragons love or hate McGregor? I mean, either way, the cunts are fucked, but still, help me out here. Alistair said, did anyone ever take Parramatta seriously as premiership contenders? Gutho is the king of fucking nothing. Hashtag climax for Lomax. Oof, Jesus Christ.
So Rick Sanchez, he's the king of shit.
Another Mitch, who's on Twitter at footballfan3434, says, I want to stick Mars bars in my eyes after watching that shit. Has a Parramatta logo on his name. C64 Mid-Resi said, TWiL called it weeks ago on the podcast. The Eels are finished. Today's performance proved that argument. Certainly did. And at B.43 said, the only positive from this game is that it's proven that Smooth Corey should be in that team for the rest of the year. Did have a good game on his return. Old Smooth Corey.
The Sharks 30 defeat the Titans 18 in the infamous Biting Cup. The Sharks 30 came through tries to Dugan, Talakai, Katoa, Graham and Jack Williams, 3 conversions to Sean Johnson and 2 conversions to Matt Moylan. The Titans 18 came through tries to Corey Thompson, Jared Wallace and Keegan Hipgrave, Ash Taylor 2 of 2 conversions and Fogarty with 1 as well.
This one's pretty simple to sum up. Both teams got out there and absolutely fucking bashed each other. Mm-hmm. No one seemed to want to actually get in and build anything to take control of the game. And then someone got a player sent off by screaming out, he bit me, he bit me, he bit me, and then that team won.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like the Sharks were still on top at that point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, you're right. What it did, it deprived the Titans of the opportunity to get themselves back into the game, which was still pretty much a live contest at the time.
And again, the Titans, it's not like they were playing miraculous footy and were suddenly cruelled by the referee's whistle, but they don't seem to build to their fifth. Like you see a lot of the better teams that you get an idea of where the set's going and what they're looking to do, and then over the course of the game, okay, this is something they're playing. The Titans just seem to run through tackles, and then Ash Taylor does something on the fifth. There doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason to it. And fuck me, that cunt's a lazy defender. He is just an absolute fucking liability in defence.
Yep.
With what he chooses not to do. And I know that he's had a rough year, and I know that he's coming good with his attack. You know, that's improving.
very much so.
But Jesus Christ, if every team that plays the Titans doesn't just put traffic at him all fucking night, then they need to revise their game plan. Kelly was a nice little beacon of talent for him, for the Titans.
And has been for, the majority of the season.
Yeah, and for the Sharks, Matt Moylan got through a whole game. Well done.
Tweets.
Lachlan H. said, turns out Hayne did, in fact, fit the culture. A man ahead of his time. Hammers said, shit way to undo all the hard work of the last 3 weeks, but at least they showed some fight in the end. I think Proctor has played his last game for us. That is unfortunate.
But not true, because he only got 4 weeks, so he will be back in the last 2 rounds.
Frogmore said, Sharks fans are always telling people to eat a bag of dicks, but as soon as Proctor puts a Johnson in his mouth, they all cry foul.
See, to me, that's like the greatest fucking...
Clever wordplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, don't be such a fucking LeBron fan. You use that fucking word greatest.
Of the year. So far.
No. It's not the greatest of anything.
Yeah. It was the greatest of the week, at least.
No,
I'm pretty sure it was.
No, I think Aaron Maher's tweet's the greatest of the week.
What did he say?
King Gutho sets a new record.
No.
369 running meters.
No.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yep.
Nah.
I'm fucking Team Maher. Reigning MVC. What's Frogmore done about have a thinly veiled wish to blow an Irish punchy cuddle man? Like, seriously, what's your fucking contribution to the World Cup? Fuck, I can't even read. MJG at MJGroom_AU. Hope the Titans can still end the season as the top placed Queensland team after this game. Need heaps more from the Sharks' defensive coach and players. Candle in the darkness was Talakai. Wouldn't like to pay his food bills, but the value he's bringing is immense. Yeah, that's true. At Catastrophe187 says, ugly, but we'll take the 2 points. You've pretty much just summed up my dating life.
Is that it?
That's it.
In the first of the infuriating fucking moron cups of the week. Jesus fucking Christ. The Rabbitohs 31 defeated the Cowboys 30 at the Abattoir. Fucking, this game triggered me so badly. The Rabbits 31 came through tries to Reynolds, Gagai, a double to Johnson, and Campbell Graham. Reynolds 4 of 5 conversions and a penalty goal, and the crucial field goal. The Cowboys 30 came through tries to Lemuelu, a double to Michael Morgan, who bounced back amazingly well considering how badly he was fucked up last week. Tabuai Fidel with a try, Mitchell Dunn and Opacek also with tries. 2 of 5 conversions to Felt, and a penalty goal.
Tell you what a fucking bounce back from Morgan.
It was amazing because he was so badly destroyed by the Gold Coast fucking Titans.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable to see.
But not only was his running game and attack on point, one missed tackle.
Yeah.
And that was the big criticism of him last week.
It makes... I'd love to know... I'd love to see, an interview with him to see, what was the difference? Was he just underdone coming back? I mean, because you don't get done after being underdone the week before. Yeah. It takes longer than that.
That's it.
So, was it just like, attitude on the day, or...
Well, maybe the Cowboys have figured out that they didn't get any Asada reps into the fucking bubble. So it's going to be at least 2 weeks till they can fucking make him piss in a jar. Just eat these fucking fetuses, Michael.
But yeah, no, he had a tremendous game.
I'm still underwhelmed by South's forward pack, and I know
I'm underwhelmed by South as a team entirely this year.
Correct.
Just obviously on paper they've got some spectacular players.
Yeah.
But the sum of the parts is nothing like that.
And they've lost Sam Burgess, obviously, since last year. But he played not a lot of games last year.
No.
And I remember distinctly going into those ones he wasn't. I was like, no Sam Burgess, or that lowers their chances significantly. And they'd come out and fucking blitz teams.
Yep.
And who else have they lost? They've lost Dewey.
Yep.
They've added Latrell, which at this stage is probably still a detriment.
Certainly, in attack. I mean, in attack, it works. At times works out spectacularly well for them. But I mean, in defense, still no.
Exactly, and South aren't that defensive unit this year that can put up with his, what's sort of turning into 3+ pretty critical mistakes per game.
Yeah.
Right on your own goal.
Yep.
That's not something you want to be putting on your ball. But the
absolute squandering of this fucking game
is
infuriating. To see a team that's struggling with the opportunity to get a win against a far more fancied opposition.
Yes.
To take a fucking decisive winning lead.
Yes.
Let them peg it back.
Yes.
Get another winning lead with no fucking time left.
Yes.
Concede a penalty, let him get it back even again, and then let him just fucking march straight down and kick the winning field goal.
And it
absolutely
was
infuriating
to watch Reynolds, who again has moments of brilliance in this game, and he is a very defined player, and his style, and that's what he's good at.
Yep.
Don't expect him to be something he's not. But just when it got down to it, he's like, oh yeah, okay, this is me. Yeah, okay, I'll just nail this fucking penalty goal. Okay, no worries, I'll just nail this fucking field goal. No need for golden point.
Yep.
But the South forwards, it's not fucking hard. The backs need them to be able to operate.
Yeah.
Those guys need to pull their finger out. Anyway, fuck Souths. Also, fuck everyone that put comments on this game thread. There were heaps of comments on the game thread, but almost nothing on the actual result that was worth fucking reading out.
Oh, well, what were they?
All you cunts having fucking actual conversations with each other. Steve said, great example from the Cowboys right there on how to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And our old mate Carsten, good old fucking German cow Swiss man, said Felt is a try-scoring winger and shouldn't be our goal kicker, but that just shows the mismanagement of the club. We were a better team today, and I'm proud of the boys, but that's life. That's, pretty much what it was. Fucking Felt. What a brain snap. Next.
The Raiders, 36, defeated the Broncos, 8 at GIO. And the Raiders, 36, came through tries to Rapiner Williams, a double to Kotrick, Bateman, and Nickel Clockstadt. 6 of 6 conversions to Jared Croker. The Broncos, tries to Jesse Arthurs and Herbie Farnworth, with Katoni Staggs unsuccessful with all conversion attempts. And this was the cliched game of two halves.
Yes.
The Broncos were on top at halftime.
They were.
They thought they were going to win.
I thought, well,
I feared they were going to win.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to win. But at halftime, when they go in ahead and had not been blown away as I expected them to be, it did certainly, it just puts the seeds of doubt in the back of your mind, like, well, fuck, are Canberra going to be on or not?
Yeah.
And as it turns out, immediately after halftime, they were on, and it very quickly became a game where you could see the Broncos had no chance of winning, and then some extremely soft tries manifested themselves, and the Raiders very easily ran away with it.
In all of the shit that's gone on with the club, there's still little fucking moments of happiness here for Broncos fans. Haas and Fafita and Boyd are still getting in there and putting in the effort.
Mm-hmm.
Canberra, I think, just looked a little bit ambushed. I think they were guilty of going in there and expecting just to be able to run riot right from the dot.
Yep.
When what they would have done if they'd observed their video closely enough was that you actually need to crush Brisbane's soul. They're still a professional sporting outfit, and they'll get out there and they'll contest with you.
And if you allow them to have success early, then it fuels them for another sequence.
That's it. And even if you look at, and what would you say, the worst team over the past 3 years has been the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I would say so.
Mm-hmm. And even the Bulldogs, the criticism of them for the majority of that 3 years is, well, they'll only play for 60 minutes.
Yep.
You know, you still need to get in there and be close to your best for 60 minutes against the worst team in the league, which the Broncos most certainly are. But once Canberra got that roll on in the second half, Jesus fucking Christ.
And it was the Broncos reverting into the very worst of, like, you know, the 60-0 conceding lost team that they have been at times.
Yep. It's just their effort, you know, whereas those three players mentioned before stood up in the first half.
Yep.
In the second half, like when Bateman bust through,
yep,
there was no reaction. There was no reaction from the middle to turn around and chase. And again, they're forwards. They gave up a start. They might not have got there, but there was just nothing actually there in terms of effort.
Yep.
That's the worrying thing. Brodie Croft, for somebody that's under so much fucking pressure, who's crying after every loss and this, that, and the other, who came through the Melbourne Storm system, like for that cunt to make a tackle, not get up and get to marker, and then jog back into the defensive line after the play's already passed him.
Yep.
Fucking cunt.
Especially like you said, a guy that apparently is trying to put in and make his mark and show some leadership and the rest of it.
It's just little things like that that are like, oh, okay.
Yep. That's why Craig let him go.
That's it, exactly. And then for the icing on the cake, the Haru Iranara, when he made his run, there were just play the fucking whistle.
Yeah.
Play the fucking whistle. There was no help.
Exactly.
You know, you look at all these other teams, it's fucking drilled into them. When there's a tackle being made, another player, walk over, put a hand on him.
Yep.
Just put a fucking hand on him. Don't even have to get your knees dirty, you fucking soft cunt.
Well, this is it. Worst case, I mean, you know, you need the second marker there. You got to fucking, someone's got to go over to the vicinity.
Yeah, but no, Canberra ended up coming through.
Hit the tweets.
Adam said Canberra had the worst differential of the top 5, but they hadn't had their Brisbane bye yet. Adam C said Fox commentator on the Kotrick try. Well, Croft was never going to get the job done. Truly words to live by. Toto said was about to come in here and write how well the Broncos were going. Then check the score again. Fuck. And you know all I'm hearing from that is you can't be fucked to watch your team's games live anymore. You absolute shit cunt fan.
Well, you know, maybe he was, but what he's saying is it turned around so quickly. He's like coming after halftime to start talking about how well they were going. On.
Check the score says to me, I checked the score on my phone.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So my position of you are a shit cunt fan.
Correct.
And, you know, as a Broncos fan, a shit cunt human. I stand by that.
Yeah, so does that mean if you're a shit fan of the shit team, does that mean you're actually, it's kind of like a double negative? You say it pushes you back over towards not to the good side, but towards the good side?
Yeah, no, you just double shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
It actually so pushes you further down the scale.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
I thought it's like closer to the light.
No. In shit mathics, there's no redemption.
Okay.
Because even if he then turns around and says, like, he would come and go, look, I've seen the light, fucking hashtag Geary of Cleary.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately I'd say to him, well, you're a fucking dirty team trader. So we don't want this shit in here. The shit mathics. You can never get out. You're shit forever, Toto.
the shitonomics.
Exactly.
Of it all.
Ryan said, holy shit. First Broncos match I've seen in a while. First half, I was pretty impressed with the way they kept pressure up on the Raiders. Second half, holy shit, the Broncos are just non-existent in defence. They're not even trying anymore. That's it. Steve said, what's the go with Alfie being out there? Didn't he get 2 weeks in ISO? Now, again...
I need to fucking, like, actually... Before we do the shows and everything, I always go through the replays again, the extended replays, just to remind myself of shit that happened that I may have forgotten because there's like so long ago. I don't remember, like that's something I just don't remember seeing him. And I mean, honestly, it's because you are blind to those sorts of you're not paying attention to that.
Can somebody confirm or deny for us? Was Alfie there?
Yeah, I want a screenshot with lines drawn on it and today's paper next to it, so I know that it was the.
And hold up a photo of your phone with a DM about Seabold and why that meant Alfie. Like,
Yes.
that you have a mate that works for 4X who knows that they're actually brewing little fucking Alfies in there. So
Correct.
you know it's right.
Correct. Was that it for the tweets?
That's it.
Newcastle Knights 26 defeated the mighty Manly Seagulls 24 at McDonald Jones Stadium. The Knights tries to Stafford Toa, which is still one of my favourite names. Kurt Mann, double to TWiL and Heimel Hunt. Ponga 3 of 5 conversions. Manly's 24 came through tries of Cade Cust, Daly Cherry Evans, Jack Jetski, and Lachlan Croker. Garrick 4 of 4 conversions. That's one thing that's turned around. Garrick's goal kicking has turned around the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, which is quite amazing. Look, I was extremely happy with the way that they came out and played this game. I mean, yeah, that Cade Cust try at the start was just one of those things that's the ultimate reward for a cunt that's just not going to die on a play. And take it through, have some skill and have the luck, and then just have the never say die on the fucking play to turn nothing into something amazing. And really, the difference in this game was they lost the fullback. Manly were cruising up at 12-0. Elliott gets fucking ACL'd, and that was pretty much the end of the game. That was the action that got the Knights into the game.
Yep.
It's got the Knights, well in control of the game. And although Manly did actually push back pretty well, and with probably the best big man shit of the season thus far, with Kepi off the kickoff, planting a grave in the sternum of Kurt Mann and doing one of those big man props, fucking straight up the guts, 50 meters. Oh fuck. I never expected to be here. How did this happen? And how do I pass to a support player? I've no idea. I never imagined that this would ever happen to me. One of those sorts of things. But then it takes a tackle and then it rolls onto a quick play and scores. But and they sort of fought their way back into the game, which was great. But at the end of the day, I mean, you just I love fucking Garrick. He's a good looking young lad. And he's a very serviceable winger, and sometimes he can kick a goal, if he's lucky. But one thing he's not a fucking fullback. He's not even a fucking fifth string fullback under any stretch of any imagination. And you just can't fucking operate under these conditions. When you've got players, like Mitchell Pearce that have good fucking kicking games that can do things to test real fullbacks, and that was ultimately the end of the story. I mean, the effort was great as a whole. Certainly, it sort of matched what I saw the last 20 minutes last week that I wanted, which is what I wanted to see. So I'm glad that they realised they can actually do that shit, and it worked out, and it was great. But it's just, I tell you. The depth wasn't good in the first place, and like when you start getting down to third and fourth rungs of depth, there's fucking nothing to cover. It's absolutely bare, particularly when you lose people in an in-game situation as well, where like Jetski, bless the guy, he actually did pretty well out there as a centre. When he's not a centre, he's done better. I mean, Waddell's had to spend time out there. Speaking of Waddell, I mean, he's a plotter that I absolutely slated last week, but he was fucking great this week too, especially in that period where they were well on top in the first sort of 20 minutes of the game. But, when you're going into a game without any of your, elite starting props, while I was pleased that the guys that replaced him kind of did step up a little bit, still, it's just too much to overcome when you go up against a team that's supposed to be a contender. But my feeling, much like we said with Parramatta a couple of weeks ago, like Knights they've got nothing. They've got nothing on any of these other teams in the top 8, and in fact, or any of these teams in the top 4. Let's say, I don't think that any of the teams that are in the top 8 or from 5th to 10 have got a fucking chance of winning overall. There's just too fucking with that's a game that the Newcastle Knights want to put in when they're trying to remain in finals contention. It's fucking not good enough.
Correct. Danny said, for a minute there, I thought we'd packed it in, but thank fuck we got there in the end. There is nothing like beating Manly to help you when you're in a depressed mood. It's like a footy Prozac. Jesus. David said, Manly, fullbacks and biscuits. Name a more iconic duo. That is correct. Are you at peace with the Tommy situation yet?
At peace in what way?
That he is pretty much your own personal Matt Moylan, in that it's amazing when he's on the field and he can do some amazing things and he's a game-winning player.
See, the thing that I object to the most out of that statement is to say that Matt Moylan is any of those things.
A fit Matt Moylan is all of those things.
I've never seen him do anything ever. He's never done anything of note his entire career.
No.
Or maybe he might have done something for Penrith back in the old days.
That's what I'm saying. A fit Matt Moylan is all of those things.
Yeah, but he wasn't discharged from service at Penrith for being unfit. He was just discharged for being a shithead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, just I'm not saying it's an exact allegory, but
yeah.
There's a player who is taking up a massive fucking chunk of your salary cap. And again, when he's fit, he's close to the best in his position in the league. Mm-hmm. Bar maybe Tedesco. Yep. And that's debatable,
yep.
On his day.
Yep.
And certainly a fucking better centre than all the other centres in the league.
Yeah.
Because he gets picked there for Origin.
Yeah, that's true.
And
it dominates there too, yeah.
But you're going to get 50% of a season out of him at best.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I mean, I think that he'll be fine going forward. But because the thing is, if you were like Matt Moylan,
so this cunt's had reoccurring injuries to the same parts of his body.
No, he hasn't. That's the point I'm making. He lost time last year for an ankle injury.
No, I'm not talking about last year.
I'll get there. He lost time last year for an ankle, and then. A rainy fucking game where he fucking flew over the sideline, tried to tackle Micah Sivo and fucking had an unfortunate pec injury. So and then this year he had a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
And then he had a different hamstring injury.
Was it on the other hamstring?
No, but it was a different injury on the same one.
Reoccurring fucking hamstring.
No, it's not, because it wasn't in the same. It wasn't a tear in the same. It wasn't the same tear. It wasn't the same severity, place, or mechanism. And you can go and look. You can go and verify it if you wish.
So the same hamstring goes, and that's not a reoccurring injury. Okay.
No, cool. It's not. No, it's not. I mean, if he had torn it in the same place.
I've tried to have an empathetic conversation here.
No, you're trying to be a shit cunt.
No, I'm not.
And I'm giving you the facts here.
I'm having an empathetic conversation in saying it would fucking suck to have somebody that was that potentially brilliant, but he's never going to see out a season.
Yeah, well, see, I'm not prepared to say that.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not prepared to say it because of he has in the past, so never's already been beaten.
From now.
Yes, he's from. See, you could put in all these things. Well, maybe from next year,
moving forward.
From next year, we'll never see it again. Who's to say?
What do you mean? Like we'll go blind, or
we'll never see a long-term injury out of him again.
Cool.
Who knows?
Empathy withdrawn.
Who knows?
Empathy withdrawn.
There never was any empathy.
There 100% was empathy.
You were trying to assume an empathetic posture to be a shit cunt.
No.
That's what you were doing, and I recognise that because I'm looking at your face as you're saying it.
No, I am shocked.
You're not going to win an Emmy, or you're not even going to win a daytime Emmy with that ability.
I'm literally shocked because out of all the people I know on this planet, you were the last person that I thought would have a Broncos fan-sized chip on your fucking shoulder when I am legitimately trying to say, that's why I asked for your opinion. How do you feel about it?
Broncos fans' chips on the shoulder, you've got to understand, Manly fans' chips on the shoulder are far bigger and far predate this little fucking baby 3-year-old tantrum on the floor of Cole's New World that the Broncos are throwing right now. They're not even the same fucking sport.
Well, no, again, that answers my question. I know exactly how you feel about the situation because you don't believe it exists.
Correct.
Exactly.
You're
a fucking effort-faced flat earther. Good.
I believe that he will be running on a one straight and long and uninterrupted flat earth forevermore.
Okay, Kyrie.
And he'll reach the waterfalls on the other. He'll reach the waterfalls on the other side. You believe that? You put it on the gram.
I'm at the wall. I found the wall. There's ice everywhere.
He'll make Neil deGrasse Tyson fucking. He'll make him choke on his fucking breakfast.
Joel said, I wasn't convinced after rolling through the pub-side Tigers last week, but now beating the greatest team in the entire history of the competition in a game that definitely had no questionable or flat-out incorrect calls to either side, the hype train is once again leaving the station. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. More importantly, fuck the Broncos.
I'm loving the general group sentiment because you know what, we've got a lot of good Broncos fans in the group. But I love this
one shit one, Toto.
But Toto's a great. We know Toto's a great guy, but he's the only one that's kind of clinging with some sorrow to the vestiges of what the Broncos used to be, whereas the other Broncos fans in the group are kind of like philosophical about it all, and they're like, yeah, we're shit, and everyone else enjoy your ride. Mm. But they're not also doing it like in a cunty way, like, oh yeah, we're gonna turn it around and next year we're gonna fucking, we'll see about who does the fucking blah blah. Yeah, they're actually like, no, we shit and there is no light, and go your hardest.
Mm. Nice. That's it.
The second game of the round to trigger the absolute fucking shit out of me. West Tigers 29 defeated the Bulldogs 28 at Bankwest. The 29 for the Tigers came through tries to Mbai, a double to Garner. Noffa and Leilua also with tries. Conversions were 4 of 5 to Mbai. Luke Brooks with the decisive field goal at the end. And the Canterbury Bankstown 28 tries through Meaney, Holland, Montoya, Dory and Aidan Tolman. 4 of 5 conversions to Kerrod Holland. We were fucking this close.
Jesus Christ.
We were like fucking 4 minutes away from the Broncos wooden spoon.
Yeah.
I tell you, I've said in the past on this show that, like, when there's like a close Manly game or something, particularly a nighttime one, I'll walk downstairs to this downstairs bathroom, just shut the door and just watch the last bit of it, just so that the rest of the house doesn't hear me screaming cunt and, like at my phone, right? This game though, holy shit, I don't think I've ever been more infuriated by a fucking last 10 minutes of a game. Like the doggies at times played fucking, like, some of the breaks they made up the middle, like Cogger for 68 minutes of the game was fucking great.
Yep.
Almost to the point where it looked like, holy shit, maybe the doggies could develop him into the 7 that they so sorely desire, because he played that well with Kieran Foran.
Yes.
But they get out to 28-22. The champagne was already on ice. I took it off. I had the fucking... I had my hands around the neck, working the fucking cork out of the cunt, right?
Correct.
And then they let the Tigers score, and that in itself. Well, I should say before they did that, Cogger, while I give him 68, 70 minutes of great play, then he starts thinking about taking these fucking pot shots at field goal, giving away 7 tackle sets. Mm-hmm. When it was not, put it in the fucking corner.
Yeah. And
man up in...
Yeah.
Maybe, like, it was too far to get a repeat. I mean, you're kicking him you're trying to kick him from like 30 metres out. Say, I can't remember. It was like 30 metres, I think. So you're probably not earning yourself a repeat set from that far out, unless you're extremely lucky. Mm-hmm. But drive it across the sideline, 2 metres out, defend from the scrum, kick it, bomb it into the corner, see what happens. try and get a knock on, maybe get a try. But worst case scenario, you're tackling Noffa or someone fucking like 2 meters out, and they've got to go the length of the field to even think about scoring a fucking try, let alone anything else.
Yes.
You only had 10 minutes to go. Fucking give them the field position to score the try.
Yeah.
They fucking give it to them. And then they do it again to fucking give him the field goal. And I'll tell you, that was, I mean, we talk about Luke Brooks a lot about, having, nothing going for him. I mean, he did fucking crack that field goal, though, as well, if not better than any field goal I've ever seen.
Correct.
I mean, he kicked that from about, 45 meters out, and he could have kicked it from 60 and it still would have gone over. I mean, he hit it. He did hit it sweetly. So I'm going to give him the credit for that. But, fucking doggies. Doggies, you got to understand something. I don't fucking care about the 2 points for this game that you would have or didn't win. I don't give a fuck where you finish on the ladder, as long as it's ahead of the Broncos and puts them last.
Exactly.
And this fucking game, to be up by 6 with like probably 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
And all it takes is like a fucking microscopic fucking pinprick of game management to fucking see it home.
It sums up the Dogs, and I know why everyone's frustrated with this game, and believe me, I feel it too. Because I don't even have any faith in this pack of Dogs that they're going to do that late season, fuck someone's, well thought out plan.
Yep.
Like who have they got? They got the Titans, maybe. Maybe.
Look, you know what? I'm telling you, this is realer than fucking real. This is realer than real deal Evander Holyfield right now. I'm telling you that at this point, if Manly don't win this weekend against Souths,
yep,
I do not want to see fucking Tommy Turbo back this year.
Yeah.
Give him the 5 weeks off.
Yep.
And fucking tank the game against the Dogs.
Yeah.
So the Broncos get the spoon.
Yeah.
Do it.
That's it. Talk to your mate Des.
Oh, see. Desi, I mean, I'm sure, like, Desi, that's the least he could do for them.
Yeah, exactly.
For old time's sake and shit.
Exactly.
It's
like throwing a charity one up your ex.
Exactly.
Yeah, spot on. It just sums up the Dogs. They have no leadership anywhere. There was nobody on that field.
I just want, who I blame? I blame.
We're blaming Tolman again?
No. How about that fucking... Who was it that made the break for that try? I can't remember who it was, but they didn't have to pass it to him. They could have scored themselves, but they passed it to him, and he almost found a way to fucking bomb that try from an unbombable position. Yeah. That guy is... Oh, my God.
Yes. Less said about this game, the better.
The hooker. That's who I blame. When you're in that position, 40 metres out or whatever, pass it left to the cunt that knows what he's fucking doing.
Yes,
the cunt that's won premiership.
Yep. True. Tristan said this game was infuriating. Tigers, I just don't get it. There was no value in the win. You had the chance to break your addiction to 9th and force the Broncos to stand by and watch their hopes be dogged into 16th. But no, you had to get the way of everyone's rugby league fantasy. #cuck blockers. Biggest Tiger said, was that a reverse disrespectful field goal? It's pathetic to even have to kick it. We are game changers, guys. To which Real Dad replied, we've changed the game all right. We didn't make it better, but we've sure changed it. Stephen said, even as an avid Wests fan, I'm willing to take a loss here. I understand and accept there is a greater good at stake. Fucking be more like him, Tigers fans and players. Fucking this cunt is now the biggest everybody wishes the Tigers were. And our old mate Egg Council Creeper said, moments like tonight are why I'm annoyed with Wests. Could have done the honourable thing, but didn't. Thanks for saving the donkeys, you bougie cunts. And this is it. This is why everybody fucking just can't stand the Tigers.
I fucking hate the West Tigers now.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yep. Yeah. But it's not even hate. It's just this general revulsion at everything about them.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember when they fancied themselves as a bit of a, everyone's second team. You could fucking cancel that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're everyone's second most hated team now, after the Broncos.
But I feel like if you opened up news.com and you read Dennis Ferguson stabbed in prison, how would you feel?
Great.
That's how I feel after the Tigers lose.
Yeah.
Because of shit like this.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Out there stealing kids' hopes and dreams.
There's a bunch...
Just like Dennis Ferguson.
There are a bunch of kids that live in places that aren't Brisbane.
Yeah.
That are they're feeling just as violated.
Exactly.
Today.
Exactly.
And that's because that's on you, West Tigers.
So equivalency. Yeah. West Tigers, you're emotionally raping children.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you're fucking happy with yourselves.
Previews. Okay, this week the Thursday game is the Eels versus the Storm at Bankwest Stadium. No changes to the Eels side that lost to the Dragons. The Storm, more changes, of course. They've lost Vunivalu, broken jaw. Finucane with a calf injury, he's out too. So Shandor Earl comes in onto the wing. And Fasu Maluai starting at lock and Vetti on the bench. So... super impressive Storm last week. Now they have to withstand further losses. Although, I don't necessarily think that Vunivalu is the... it's not like they're losing Brandon Smith.
Correct.
The Eels, obviously, they are going to put their best foot forward. It's a big game against a finals... contender.
Yep.
And if they fancy themselves to be a finals contender, then they need to put in a good showing. There's no better time to face the Storm. I mean, given the injuries that they have suffered, I mean,
that's it.
They played great last week, but surely
what was it? 3 or 4 weeks ago? Was that pre-Moses injury? We're talking 5 weeks ago now.
He was probably out 5 weeks ago, but I think he's probably out. He was out before then, though.
But you wouldn't have been called an idiot for favouring Parramatta in this clash. Look,
let me tell you, when I was looking at the tipping today, Eels are like $1.30 or something. Like Storm are like $2.50 or $2. Like Eels are heavy, pretty heavy favourites, even in the betting in this game.
Interesting.
Like I just feel like the Eels are. I don't know what it is. I saw an article saying that they've been doing Zoom sessions or whatever with Joey Johns, trying to get tell Moses and Brown and that what to do. Because he's not in the part of the bubble, so he can't actually go and consult and coach them. So he's got to sort of do it by Skype or whatever. But
you imagine like Joey Johns in this age, if he can get away with that, like if Parramatta go all the way this year,
yep,
and all of a sudden he can just never leave his house again and just sit
cash
there,
checks,
just dump pingers and do Zoom sessions. I'm here for it.
Look, I think that the Eels have to show me something that tells me that they aren't a lesser side in the 8. I mean, they were fantastic and dominant in the early stages of the season, but they have not shown that in a month. And I just don't see it. I mean, could they turn it around and show me? Fucking oath they could. We've seen them.
I want to say that Parramatta have a slight edge in the backs, just in terms, they've got Fergo. Sivo had an off round last week, but
he's had a few of them too. I think it's less off rounds and more just people know how to contain him now.
I was going to put that down to just being wet, and that ground was absolutely fucking atrocious that he was on. Jennings is legit at crafty veteran stage.
Yep.
And Wonga Blake's dangerous. Pappenhausen's obviously a far better footballer than King Nothing. But then you look, you're Shandor Earl, Brenko Lee. Like, Olam had a good game, but he's not like a solid fucking game breaker. And then Adokar as well. Fantastic talent. But I think the Storm are just too strong in the forwards. And their bench will get it done as well. So I'm tipping Melbourne.
The Panthers take on the Sharks in the pub slot game at Panthers Stadium. There are no changes to the 17 for the Panthers, although To'o has been named in the reserves, so he may be returning from injury. Sharks. Rudolph remains in jumper number 13, but as they've been doing of late, they've been benching him before kickoff. And so this will happen again, presumably. And look, another team that haven't been super impressed with is the Sharks.
Yeah.
So this is a great opportunity for the Panthers to do everyone solid. Pack them a little lunch bag of dicks.
Yeah, Penrith need a full performance here.
Yep.
Because the Sharks will get up for the game, as they always do. They're always a danger team for us.
And I guess they do have the chip on their shoulder, because they got touched up royally last time.
They certainly did. And just looking at form, Penrith they've been consistent and they've been very, very good for large components of games. But this one, they're up against that old enemy that's really going to want to turn this into a grind. And they just need to stick to their game plan and take it to the Sharks here. I think Penrith can win, but it's a danger game.
I think Panthers will win easily. Not as easily as last time, though, mind you.
Look, unless the Sharks come out again and just lie about things happening and accuse foul play that didn't happen to gain an unfair advantage because they are all cheating cunts.
Yep.
There is always the risk of that. So
Panthers just have to be mindful of that and just not put themselves in positions where they're getting arms jammed into their mouths. And
that's it. You know what they should all go out there like with the symbolic black tape around their mouth and sit there and just stare down Sean Johnson.
Yeah.
Because he is the most mentally fucking fragile player I've seen since Jamie Soward.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't have thought that ordinarily.
Yeah,
but I mean, he did expose some things about himself last week.
Correct.
And I would love to be in the opposing forward pack this week.
Yeah.
And just to fucking just chirp in his ear.
Yep.
For 80 minutes.
Yep.
About Takashi and like the little snitcher.
Yeah.
Just do shit to him. What are you going to do? You going to run and tell your mama?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the entire...
Just go dob on me.
Yeah.
Go dob. Dob the ref.
Yeah.
Fucking...
And everything that happens, you just every play you call in a ruck.
Yeah.
You go, Sean, you see that? Go tell the referee the entire game.
That's it.
You guys win easy. The Broncos take on the Dragons. Here comes another chance to keep them down. And the Dragons, the Broncos, fuck me, there's a lot of changes. Okay, so Payne Haas is suspended. Flegler had a shoulder injury, and it's my understanding that he couldn't damage it anymore if he kept playing for the rest of the season, but he's opted for surgery, which will probably end his season. Jake Turpin's out with the metatarsal injury from last week. Jesse Arthurs and Brodie Croft drop out of the side. Offhand Galway and Kennedy are the props. Milford comes into the halves to replace Croft. Kahu replaces Arthurs in centre. Herbie Farnworth to the wing. Isaac Luke comes in at hooker to replace Turpin. And Bullimore and Hopewate join the bench. Dragons. Paul Vaughan returns via the interchange after his COVID violation quarantine period.
Yep.
Tristan Saylor is pushed to the reserves. And this is officially Dean Young's first game in charge. Look, who's ever going to tip the Broncos to win a single game for the rest of this season? Not I.
Never.
Absolute clusterfuck. Can they win games? Shit, yeah, of course they can.
Mm-hmm.
They've got talented players in their team. They just have to fucking play as a team for 80 minutes. And there's a lot of teams that they could beat.
Yep.
But they're not going to do it. No fucking way.
Correct.
I will never tip them to win another game in 2020.
No.
And the Dragons, look, they've been showing some good signs. It was almost funny. Did Mary deserve to get to get sacked? Yeah, ultimately, yes. Especially cumulatively, if you look at the entire output of his tenure as coach, absolutely, It wasn't not good enough. Did he deserve to get shanked when he did? Because remember when the Dragons hadn't won or whatever, and They were like, they're going to give him like 4 or 5 games to get his shit together, and then they sort of won like 4 out of 5 of those games or something. So,
Yeah.
so by the metrics that they put in front of him, he actually, kind of, I don't want to say succeeded, but I think he exceeded what they wanted. But they're going to do what they're going to do. Okay, and in this case, the Dragons another win. Titans versus the Raiders at Seabus. The Titans have lost Dale Copley with Peck, Jai Arrow with the shoulder. Corey Thompson is in the reserves. They're out of the side. Anthony Don and Philip Sammy return after missing the loss to Cronulla. Antonio Mapea moves to centre. Jared Wallace up front. Fodawaika to lock. And Sam Stone on the bench. And, of course, Kevin Proctor. Named on Tuesday.
Did you see Thompson do much that should get him dropped?
Not last week. But he's been pretty ordinary since he went to the Titans. So I feel as compared to what he did at the Tigers. But yeah, I think he's basically his depth for the side, and you certainly can't really find a place for him there when you've got when you've got AJ Brimson when he's starting to really come good.
Yeah, exactly.
The Raiders, Hudson Young starts and Ryan Sutton benched. And otherwise, no changes.
I can't go past Canberra in this one. The Titans have been tough. They've fought in games.
And the Titans will give them a tougher first half than the Broncos did. So Canberra probably can't afford to clock off not clock off, but sort of half-ass it to the extent they did in that first half.
And that's the thing. I'm putting that first half down to Canberra's attitude and expecting to beat the Broncos.
Yeah, a little bit of just complacency.
So hopefully that was enough of a shock for them and they understand this is a proper game, but I'll tip the Raiders here.
Yeah, well, they're starting to roll fairly well otherwise, so yeah, I'll be tipping the Raiders. There's also, I think it's a milestone game for Dynamis Louis. He's like maybe 150.
Also a revenge game then.
Taking a while for him to get there. Tell you what, when you talk about media and managers speculating and shit like that, my brother's pretty good mates with Dynamis Louis' family.
Yeah. And
he was playing for Manly, and then all these news articles come out saying like, he's looking to, get a release and, shift or whatever. And I remember my brother rang up and said, "It's fucking literally no one said that. His manager didn't say that. He definitely didn't say he wants to stay. He wants to stay at Manly." And she's like, from somewhere this story just eventuated, and then Manly got wind of it. And they're like, "Okay, well, I guess you want to go, then
yeah, well,
we won't re-sign you." And but I mean, he's actually come. It's crazy, but he's a legitimate starting prop for Canberra. So fucking good on the lad.
Yep.
West Tigers take on the Roosters at Leichhardt. TWiL named in the reserves. McCallie and Lawrence as well. Chris Lawrence, of course, we didn't mention it earlier, but he's announced. And it's kind of like
you know what? I didn't mention the shit I took today.
It's unsurprising. It's kind of unsurprising, but because he is certainly a shadow of the player that he was, and yeah, he can get a look at the future ahead of him as he watches the West Tigers play this game from the bench.
That's it.
The Roosters. Okay, so TWiL, the debutant from last week, he's out. Mitch Orbison's out with a wrist. Lachlan Lamb ankle. Luke Keary ribs. Brett Morris comes back. Ribs.
Spleen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brett Morris comes back. Letters comes back into the side. Drew Hutchinson and Kyle Flanagan in the halves. And Nat Butcher to the back row. And Freddie Lussick is new on the bench. So, fuck me, what an injury toll, especially to some key players. Keary is the one that I think they'll find it extremely hard to suck up and bear the loss of.
Yes.
Having said that, they're playing the West Tigers, who should have fucking lost to the Dogs last week.
Scoring points isn't the Tigers' problem. It seems to be stopping them being scored against them.
Yep.
And you would... look, you know what? Even as I'm saying that sentence, without Keary, does that Roosters team have it?
Look, I didn't think Kyle Flanagan was going that badly to get dropped when he was dropped. So he's back. I think he'll be fine. You've got the Mozzies.
You got the Mozzies.
Nothing's getting past. You know that the Mozzies aren't going to let anything past.
No,
they're going to they'll die on that field.
Yeah.
Teddy revenge game.
Yep. Yeah. Look, it's the Roosters, and then it's the tip Roosters.
Look, I feel like SST and Letters in the front row for the Roosters puts them in the contest.
Yeah.
And they don't have as much brilliance on the field as they ordinarily would.
Yep.
But I also will not believe and cannot be convinced that James Tedesco, Joseph Manu, and Brett Morris cannot conjure fucking something up on that fucking expressway down the left-hand side.
Yep.
With fucking the Fat Leilua.
Yes.
And fucking Noffa.
The worst winger to ever play the game.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't convince me that they can't exploit something there.
Yes. So 50-0.
I'm not that optimistic, but I'll take it. The Rabbitohs take on the mighty Manly Seagulls at ANZ. Let's see the Rabbitohs squad. Bailey Sironen comes into the back row, following the suspension of Bagon, Liam Knight. Jack Johns on the bench, and Jed Cartwright in the reserves. When did they sign him?
A couple of weeks back.
Okay, so they did the exchange, the trade window.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. The Manly side. Okay, so Garrick to fullback. Tafua recalled to the wing just when we thought we were past that era. Marty Tapau comes back into the side, which pushes Waddell to the bench. Jetski into the reserves, and I see Adam Fanua-Blake there in number 21, which would indicate that perhaps he may make ahead of what we initially thought return. And look, if Fanua-Blake gets back into the side, they'll definitely hold their own in the forwards. But man, Garrick at fullback is so fucking bad. It is just the absolute worst, especially when you have guys like Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds who have great kicking games, and they've got like great short kicking games and like clever kicking games. I don't rate South at all at the moment, but it's literally that one positional situation. Even if they play like they did last week and they still had fucking Brendan Elliott there, I'd be super confident of a win. But I just cannot co-sign any lineup that has Ruben Garrick as the fullback. As much as I love Ruben Garrick on the wing, don't get me wrong, fullback it's a fucking much more difficult and skilled position, and he doesn't have it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But it's a season. There are so many games this round where and over the coming sort of 3 or 4 rounds where teams like Rabbits and Sharks and stuff are all playing each other.
Yeah.
And so win this week and fucking who knows. And then you got Tom back and then who fucking knows. Lose this week and I would legit shelve him for the rest of the year just because fucking why bother? The Doggies take on the Warriors. So, here we go again. Assuming the Broncos lose on Friday night.
Yes.
The Bulldogs come up against another very winnable game because you don't know what you're going to get week on week with the Warriors. They are facing an extremely unique set of challenges.
Yep.
The most unique set of challenges a team has faced week on week in the history of the competition. Marcelo Montoya was dropped. Let's go through the lineup. Montoya dropped.
Yep.
Big Puppy suspended. Will Hopewadi returns at fullback. Meaney shifting to the wing. I think they're both good moves.
Yep.
Marshall King starts in favour of Katoa. That's a good move.
Yep.
Dory starts in the back row in his second game. Jackson moves to lock and Luke Thompson benched. Avarillo returns from injury via the bench, which is another great in if they can get him into the starting side. The Dogs, they can win with this lineup.
Yeah, 100% they can.
They can beat the Warriors. Okay, so what do they got? You got Herbert. He's gone, hasn't he? He fucked his... Was it hamstring, was it? Yeah. So Herbert's gone. Pompey moves to the wing. Papali replaces Eliasa Katoa. Jack Murchie joins the bench. hilarious that that Manly loaned Hopper Jr. to the Warriors, and he's not even in the side this week. But
maybe they want a couple of weeks to actually fucking train with him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's kind of like a beggars can't be choosers thing, though, either. But I mean, I guess in his case, I mean, he's not going to be named ahead of Tuivasa-Sheck, and Tuivasa-Sheck isn't moving anywhere else.
Yeah.
Unless he moves back home, gets the shits like the others did. Look, I feel like the Warriors have been putting in. They've been playing pretty strongly of late.
Yep.
I think that kind of base level of playing pretty strongly that they've been operating at the last couple of weeks is about the equal of a good Dogs performance. So it's really hard to pick who's going to win. But once again, we find ourselves the Dogs. This is redemption round for them. They fucking had it.
They need to win this game. If the Warriors that played Penrith show up and put that defensive effort in,
yep,
I don't think the Dogs can.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, because the Dogs, their number one trouble is scoring points.
Yeah,
I mean, although you think that 28 would be fucking enough, or 30 would be enough.
Yeah,
28. Yeah, 28. I'm never gonna fucking. I will never get over. I mean, I never liked the Dogs anyway, but now, just win, motherfuckers. The hopes and dreams of an entire Codes supporter base.
World. I would go so far as to say the world. The world is in crisis at the moment.
Super League it is. They don't like Brisbane Broncos.
And the world needs this to heal.
Exactly.
You know?
It doesn't sound like it's a straight line between some fucking guy eating a bat and the Broncos getting the spoon. It doesn't logically follow that one solves the other, but it does, believe me. Believe me.
If the Broncos get the spoon, all the COVID shit just dissolves. The virus self-eradicates.
It's literally like the end of the War of the Worlds, where there's enough fucking microbes from the Earth's air has got into the Martian fucking vessels and killed them.
Die.
Yeah. I mean, it's taken a lot longer because a rugby league season takes longer.
Yeah.
It takes longer than a week worth of Earth microbes.
Temper your expectations, world. You fucking shit cunts. If you'd have all social distance, we wouldn't have this problem in the first place. But we'll get you there. Do what you need to do, Bulldogs.
And finally, the Knights take on the Cowboys at McDonald Jones. The Knights have Daniel Saifidi. He's out after one game back in. So Jacob starts up front and Pasami Solo returns on the bench. Cowboys. Ruben Cotter comes in for Jake Granville on the interchange. Otherwise, same side. Now look, the Cowboys, the performance last week, up until that fucking part at the end where they bottled it, was very good. It's a performance that could beat a side of the standard of the Newcastle Knights. I just don't feel like the Cowboys, that's not their level. That was the level they achieved in that game.
Yes.
I don't think that's their week-on-week level, unfortunately for them. And once again, I am sure that Taumalolo will have his way with the Knights when and how he feels.
But that's been the story since forever.
Yeah, no matter what the Cowboys do, yeah.
Exactly. He's going to run 200 plus.
Yep.
That's great. It's almost like you go up against the Dogs last year and they were great for 5 tackles.
Yep.
And you didn't have to worry about the last because it was going to be so fucking ineffective.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't go past Newcastle here.
Yep. The Knights have to win, and the Knights the Knights will win. I would assume. However, if the Cowboys pull up like they did last week, it'll be close. It'll be a lot closer. Okay, mailbag for this week. And let me actually go to my phone because I see I fucked up one of these ones here. So let me just quickly open up the old TWiL Nation group. And if you're not in the group, it's an amazing group. #TWiL Nation. search for it on Facebook because I don't remember what the URL is off the top of my head at the moment. But the mailbag. Bennett was first up. Any advice on walking the line between extracting moments of pure joy from the Broncos' implosion and not causing any further mental scarring on mates and colleagues that support them? Asking for a friend, I'm getting my pound of flesh while the sun shines. Well, my advice to you would be put all thoughts of that out of your mind.
Yes.
They made their fucking bed.
Yes.
Consequences, or actions have consequences.
Correct.
And the action of them choosing or sheeping their parents into supporting the Broncos has consequences.
Correct.
And that is the 2020 season.
Mm-hmm.
They need to wear it.
Yep.
They need to suck it.
Yes.
There's no two ways about it. You didn't do this to them. They did it to themselves. So don't feel about their mental don't their team's implosion and mental scarring that they have sustained as a result is not a concern of yours. 100%. All you need to do is you took the segment, you took the clip out of the show last week or the week before, whenever it was, where I was talking about being mindful and be present and fucking enjoy this time. That's all. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Mitch, he said, you should have enough to sink your teeth into this week already. Toto, Telstra versus Vodafone. So the story there was that, the story, the way I understand it, was that the NRL was going to block Vodafone New Zealand, from being the major sponsor of the Warriors that they have been for the last fucking since forever, 20 years odd, on account of the fact that Telstra being the naming rights sponsor of the competition and everything.
Yep.
Protecting their position, blah blah blah, competing interests, etc. Then there's a lot of outcry about that, rightly so. I mean, they've been a long-term sponsor, but then Telstra actually came out, I saw, and they tweeted out a statement saying, look, we're happy for Vodafone New Zealand to continue sponsoring the club. And so what I don't know is, did it come from Telstra in the first place, or did it come from the NRL?
I believe so.
Because that's the key piece, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it came from anywhere. There's an exclusivity clause.
Yep.
In Telstra's current sponsorship deal.
Yep.
And it's been there forever.
Yep. And it's just never been
activated.
Yeah.
It was discussed, and so it then was put to the Warriors that it was under consideration. So that, I assume, would have been one of the conditions in the exclusivity clause, that if it's ever chosen to be exercised, anyone that may potentially be affected would have to be given a certain amount of notice or whatever, and that's all I assume that would have been. So I don't think you'll ever know whether it was Telstra that came in and went, hey, just noticed after 20-something years, we don't really like that. Or if it was the NRL trying to maybe say, hey, look, what if you give us some more money for next year or whatever it is? We can push that out. I honestly think it's fucking stupid and stems from an antiquated form of advertising and marketing when people went, NRL uses Telstra, I'll just sign up to Telstra.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody else on the jerseys, so they must have no competitors. I will give whatever they give me and be happy with that.
Yeah.
Shit doesn't work like that anymore. It's
not to mention really they're not like for like competitors either, because I mean it's Vodafone New Zealand. Obviously it's a branding exercise for Vodafone in general, but Vodafone New Zealand don't provide mobile services to Australia, and Telstra don't provide services to New Zealand. But I mean, it's an Australian competition.
But Vodafone do operate in Australia under exactly the same name, with exactly the same logo.
Yeah.
So it's not like someone would ring Vodafone and they'll go, hang on, did you see us on the Warriors jersey? Because if so, fuck off, we don't want your business. That won't happen either.
No.
So it's not dumb from Vodafone to want to sponsor the Cross Tasman team. But the potential ill will to a brand for potentially cock-blocking a team, especially the team that's in the dire straits that the Warriors are,
Yep.
If the Warriors weren't under the predicament they were in a normal season, I'm not sure it would have gone this way.
Yeah.
But, Telstra's a massive machine.
And I must admit, Telstra have been doing a fucking great job lately on like the warm and fuzzy public fronting sort of, on the social. Did you see the video they put out where it was just like with that comedian, I can't remember his fucking name. No. It was like, Mark Humphries, it was like, there was a video they put out where it was like, and they put it on Twitter and it's like, we can't believe we have to fucking do this, but here it is.
Oh, that guy.
And it was that sarcastic.
He's like the Aldi Carrie Elways.
Yeah. And he was, and it was like doing like that satirical thing about the 5G and everything like that.
Yeah.
So they've actually been killing it with that sort of thing. And once again, it's a shame that this thing had to come to a head in the first place. But I feel like they've certainly, from the PR, warm and fuzzy perspective.
Again, I would suggest that there was just a required notice period to anyone that may be affected.
Yep.
That was given, and somehow it's leaked.
Well, probably from the Warriors' side to generate the outrage that it did, which generated the response that it did.
So, done.
Biggest. Pascoe said that Chris Lawrence set the standard at the club. Was he meaning to insult him? What lovely things would you have said about Chris Lawrence as his CEO?
Well, maybe that's it. Like, this fucking grey level of mediocrity that somehow fans have come to admit and embrace. Like the West Tigers. Dude, Chris Lawrence fucking he mirrors the club. He's exactly right. Mm-hmm. Like, did some okay shit, in 2005.
Yep.
Had a tumultuous and...
Was he the one dropping all the F-bombs in the immediate post-match interview on the field?
Yeah, tumultuous and probably regrettable relationship with Robbie Farah.
Yep.
And a slow fucking decline into an international cunt circus afterwards.
Hips made of the finest china.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Wish him all the best. Now his pain can end. May he now begin to ascend from 9th into the positions 1 through 8 of his chosen post-football career enterprises.
Yes.
Chris said, "Is the link?" And this is a couple of people. I say Chris asked us this question, and then I scroll down and see who else as well. Ryan also asked this question. And also Nathan all came in with a similar sort of thing. So I'll just address it one time with Chris. He said, is the link between Rona and 6 again and more injuries real? If so, is it worth it for a better game? And is the impact evenly spread by luck or strength and conditioning? How much will this factor in who wins the comp? Well, this year it'll factor in greatly. But I don't... And yes, I think the link is real. However, I feel like the only variable that is at play here is that, like a lot of things that Volandi does... Some by necessity, some by the fact that it's just who he is. He shoots from the hip a lot, and he makes shit up on the fly a lot. And the whole 6 again and everything was very quickly implemented without a lot of thought in advance and without a lot of notice. So what that did was it prevented teams having a preseason, an off-season, and all that sort of thing tailored towards this is what the game is now. And instead, I think they had 2 weeks, 2 weeks sort of thing. So no doubt it's real, but I think it's just an anomaly. I don't think it will happen next year. And some of the injuries are just fucking really just freak shit too. Like, people getting knocked out and, HIA related shit and just and there's been some weird, Kiri even last week, shit like that. That's not something that's because of the 6 again rule. That's just fucking bad. It's just bad luck.
There's so much that goes into it in terms of, you can look across the injuries.
Yep.
And the Roosters are a good example. There's, just look at last week. They had 3 players that went out.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of those were from actions in a tackle.
Yep.
So, Kiri had his ribs exposed and just copped a fucking, absolute, the worst chance fucking shot
time
ever. And Orbison had his fucking arm rolled over on,
Yep.
and it's fucked his wrist.
Yep.
So out of those 3 that happened in the game, 2 of them can completely not be attributed to anything
situation.
to do with the 6 again thing. Now, that's not the case. I'm not saying that's the case for all of the injuries that have gone through. But if you look across,
but even there's ACLs and there's ACLs. Like I'm trying to think of who else did their ACL recently.
I'd suggest there's more to be done in terms of injuries from the same grounds being used for multiple games.
Yeah, and we've really seen Bankwest exposed, and the Cowboys one for that matter, not even through multiple games, but just being exposed as just shitty surfaces that we didn't think they're both brand new. You know,
that's it. Now, again, it's never just one factor.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a tipping point. Players have been getting faster and stronger, and every club are looking for that 1% to 2% improvement. You know, be it in speed, be it in power, be it in acceleration, whatever it is. The increase in that stuff with players, mixed with a change or a decline or a drop in quality of playing surface, when those 2 lines intersect, perhaps that's the reason for all of these.
Yep.
I'm not sure the 6 again rule has too much to do with it.
Well, it's definitely removed the small 30-second, to a minute periods of, rest and like no activity and things like that. That a scrum or a penalty situation, like a kick for line would.
It has
normally.
It has, but even in those increased times of the ball in play, not all players are exerting themselves to the same level. And in speaking to a couple of people that deal with this sort of stuff for a living, they don't see that an increased time of the ball in play would have an across-the-board level of increase in injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen other physios say the opposite though too. So
yeah, and let me clarify that.
Yeah.
That yes, if you are using something more, then there is a higher chance of it breaking.
Yes,
that's not up for debate.
Yep,
that's fucking fact.
Yep.
However, just by the fact of the ball being counted as in play, you look at in an offensive team if the ball's in play more.
Yep.
They may go left for 3 tackles out of the 5. Your right-hand edge are essentially walking.
Yeah.
So just the ball being in play isn't causing those injuries more.
Yeah, but I mean, on the other side of the ball, I mean, it is constant. Like, the line's the line. Where it doesn't matter where the where the ball's going necessarily. I mean, you're still you back 10, running 10, forward 10, back 10, forward 10. So so thank you to, I think there was like 3 or 4 people who asked a similar same sort of thing. So good reading up the thread and everything, guys. But we thank you for your questions. Terry has put in a screenshot of an article in here. From Harry and Naira on the NRL Facebook page, and he said the headline is that Harry and Naira are glad he was caught out, and the quote is, "I'm 25 now. I needed this wake up call." So he's like, this implies he's done it with more than once with the school kiddies. How many schools did he visit at Penrith, and did he take a coat hanger with him every time? Yeah. Well, remember, Harry and Naira's biggest crime was that he picked up a school teacher to fuck at the same time as his fucking Jamal Idris cosplay.
No, it wasn't a school teacher.
He fucked a teacher, did he not? And the Jamal Idris cosplay guy fucked the school student.
What I remember was that, no, it wasn't the teacher. She was still a student, but he just picked her up as a Tinder swipe, and she alluded to the fact that she was a teacher, whereas Idris 2.0, she sent him a photo of herself in her uniform with him the day before.
Yep.
Going like, hey,
yeah, we saw you at school.
This is wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, I'm 100% against fucking children.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who would disagree with your stance outside of Dennis Ferguson and NRL clubs that are associated with Dennis Ferguson.
That's
based on what we've decided tonight.
Exactly. And I hope here that CHN is alluding to the fact that it was more so the party lifestyle and the picking up a girl,
picking up
everywhere he
randoms,
goes,
or
that's the thing. Like it was easy enough for me as a fucking frumpy, middle-aged divorced father. Like the ease at which I found it on Tinder.
Yeah. So if some of the professional sportsmen's what you're saying.
Well, like if I took my shirt off and put a fucking shirtless photo and my bio just said professional NRL player, like my phone would legit have a vaginal meltdown.
Yeah.
And just be like, like a biohazard thing would come up and just be like, we have a duty of care to you to just not let you fuck this much. So, I hope that's what he's talking about.
I assume that's what he was talking about, but it's hard to gauge that strictly from the headline, but yeah. Where are we? Jai said, all the talk of the Grant Momorowski swap deal has been about what happens with Grant. I think we should take a moment to think about how glorious it would be if not only does Grant go back to Melbourne, but Momorowski also wants to stay with Melbourne because, fuck the Tigers. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about what Momorowski does. He's the forgotten man in the whole thing because Harry Grant's a fucking legitimate commodity.
Yes.
And Momorowski's just kind of there.
Again, a good workman in his position, but not somebody that Craig Bellamy couldn't pick up a clone of somewhere else and turn them into the same quality player.
Yep. Tristan, what was the weekend's biggest rugby league fail? Broncos defence for Kotrick's first try? Kyle Fells? Proctor biting, in quotes? Johnson milking, in quotes? Or the Tigers? None of those things. The fucking Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
Their fail. Manage out
and
the
fucking
game.
Cowboys. And I guess Kyle Felt, you've mentioned there, so maybe that. Matthew said, I'm loving the Broncos implosion, the Seabold rumours, TPJ, the hotel fine, Milford and Boyd in general, etc. At least the Broncos can take solace that their best player on the weekend has chosen to go to the Titans. Can't wait for next week's episode. # enjoying it while it lasts. As are we all, sir.
Yes.
Chris said, with CHN looking to play finals footy this year, instead of collecting a spoon at the Dogs, should all Canterbury players try to root school kids to go to a better club?
No.
I would, whilst I acknowledge the success of his gambit, I would
start
not suggest
coaching your club. They'll get rid of you for no reason.
Kat said, is there any truth to the story that a lot of old-time Broncos, including some still involved, wanted Kevy as a coach and have undermined Seabold continually and from day one, with some of the players giving him no chance of succeeding? I would imagine Fluffy and Alf in it up to their eyeballs.
There you go.
Honestly, I feel like whilst there is a contract with Darius Boyd that needs to be paid, I think if I were a coach and people were undermining me, if I couldn't get rid of them completely, like probably Darius, he can go play for fucking Q Cup or whatever. And if Alfie's just employed as a trainer, and he was like, I mean, you wouldn't retain anyone around you that was like that.
No,
and you'd be under no obligation to.
That's it. 100%.
So I don't. So I don't think so. I think. I mean, whilst there seems to be divisions into playing ranks, and there are some there's probably splits with players not being a fan of Seabold, and that translates to their performances and their intensity and their willingness to chase a fucking break all the way down, that sort of thing. I don't think it's anything as overt as that, because if someone's that overt about it, then that's easily solved.
Correct.
You fuck them off immediately.
Yep.
And you would see sensationally, Alan Lang has been fucking, there's Alfie's a Broncos legend, but there's nothing fucking keeping him there if he was a cunt.
Yep. Correct.
But I think that anyone could fire him very simply.
Well, here's the thing. Alfie's an employee of that club.
Exactly.
And they don't have to pay him out, what is it, $3.8 million?
Yep.
If they do it?
Yep.
So...
Even as much as the board and everything would love Alfie.
Yep. Can you imagine Seabold going in and saying that he's being bullied? Yeah. And tell me he's not... And let me put that this way.
Yeah, if he walk in there, you're like, look...
Workplace bullying is not okay.
Alfie's been bullying me. Call him Mossad. I need to fucking, I need someone to go through the computers.
Yeah, that's it. Workplace bullying is not okay, and I don't want to at all dip into that culture of if you're being bullied, don't speak up about it. But Seabold looks exactly the cunt to me that would use HR laws 100% in his favour.
Yep.
Yeah, so fuck him.
And that's it for those guys. Now, tipping this week, King Kong maintains his 2-point lead over the rest of the pack. Then we've got a bit of a logjam. Followed second place, Benny89, followed by JBB, Matt, Cowboy, On a Blood Buzz, and then back one to Andy, Nightmare, and back again to My Corona and Toozy.
Nice.
And that's it for episode 364. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, you can interact with us on Twitter, so follow.
I just want to give you a quick shout out, though.
Yes.
Before we close off.
Yeah, I want to, and you're talking about the Spotify things? Amazing. These spawned from a question that we had on the members podcast last week, just asking us about, I think it was a question trying to bait us into saying that hip hop post 2010 is shit. And I think much to the surprise of the questioner, we actually both had a long list of things to suggest.
So we gave some of our favourite tracks that had come out post 2011 it was. Mm-hmm. And so I just threw it in the Facebook group that was ours in the members pod. That's fine for members. But for everybody else, what are some of your tracks that you'd recommend? And there were, some fucking dumb cunts couldn't follow instructions. I would like to fucking remind Clevo, it's a hip-hop thread. The fucking Hilltop Hoods do not belong in a hip-hop thread.
Or a thread where people are suggesting good music.
I'm a fucking Aussie and I'm poor and I ride the fucking bus, but
drinking VB, drinking Stubbies of VB.
That's okay. I'm 45 years old and Jesus, fuck, man.
That was fire.
Yeah, I'm now better than the Hilltop Hoods.
That was fire, man.
I would have won a rap battle. If there was the Aussie 8 Mile, they're dead. What's that? What is it, like 14, 17 point something kilometres? Like that, and you fucking, I'm angry at my dad because he wouldn't let me go to a fucking party, so I put giant fucking things and stretch my earlobes out. You fucking wanking.
That's your Blink-182.
No, that's my wanking park.
Okay.
White privilege.
He did more than stretch his earlobes out, let's be honest.
How did he go? Was he dolphin conversion?
I think Cherry Evans conversion. If you get what I'm saying.
So he was the go-go gadget. Inspector Lincoln. Depression's not a laughing matter.
No.
But a fucking...
So there is one for rock and all things on that side, and there's one for hip-hop.
There's the thread, but fucking... This is a decent contribution for most valuable contributor when you're voting for the Twillies at the end of the year. Michael R. in the Facebook group has gone and created Spotify playlists. They're in the threads. Go and fucking find them. And he's even opened them up so other people can add songs to them. But what a fucking way for recommendations from your fellow TWiL Nation members about no matter what sort of genre of music you're into.
And for people who aren't in the Facebook group and who are interested, in the show notes on the website this week, I'll actually put the Spotify links to the two playlists in question.
I love this group.
Yeah, fucking great.
Best fucking group of listeners out there. Love all you cunts.
Yeah, it's so fucking good.
But
you'd never get this out of those little cunt holes on Twitter.
Yeah,
never. So yeah, the group in question, #TWiLNation, facebook.com/groups/TWiL Facebook.com/TWiL Nation. If you're not in there, fucking get in there.
Yeah.
Get in there. We're also on Facebook.com/This Week in League. You'll see the episode releases and things like that there. Make sure you hit the like button, share our posts as we put them up, help us spread the word. If you'd like to support the show, easiest way, drop us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to go the extra mile, our digital memberships are available and can be picked up anytime for only $3.99 a month. Speaking of Apple Podcasts, we had a review from TJ83245.
TJ.
And I want to say...
Tavita Jr.
Potentially. And I just want to say, teach me your secret, sir. Because we've had situations in the past where people have left us reviews or they've said, I left a review, you didn't read it out in the show, what's doing? So, honestly, mate, didn't see the review. Let's go back to Apple Podcasts or iTunes as it was, and let's have a look. There's no review there. You didn't happen to, by any chance, swear in your review. I did actually. I said shit or something. That's why you need to clean it up. Anyway, TJ83245, teach us your ways, sir. The subject line of the review, funny cunts, 5 stars. The text of the review, proper funny cunts who give a good insight into league. Teach us, how did you get that through the fucking... Maybe they've loosened the reins, I don't know. But maybe it doesn't show up on iTunes and it's only like the iTunes monitoring service that I use that tells us about the rankings and reviews and things like that. Maybe
Apple's community manager ate a bat. Who fucking knows?
I think that's about it. Fuck me, we went long tonight. Hey, on the show notes, I can also put up the text exchange of SMSs that we had earlier this evening, where it's like literally. Let me look at the exact wording. You said in referring to when you were going to come over tonight, 8:45, and we can blast through it. And I said, this is entirely untrue, but let's pretend that we can. Sure enough, you were here at about 8:45, 8:50. And here we are 2 hours and 36 minutes later, probably on our longest episode of the year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Broncos.
It's just too much Broncos all the time. See you next week.
Later.